welcome back to. Oh my god, there's an alert on my computer. Dismiss. Welcome back to Nerd Bible Podcast episode. Who fucking cares? Because it's Doctor Who again. Doctor
Again,
Who.
baby.
Hey, Doctor Who. The
For
TARDIS.
a fortnight to go.
The penultimate episode to the penultimate episode, as many would call it. But episode 6 of 8. We don't talk about anything that's happening in the real world because we don't have time because Doctor Who's on and maybe it's back next year. But as much as I want to talk about Mission Impossible that I haven't seen, we can't. I've just got to talk about Space Eurovision.
Yes, and how wonderful and how much better than it was this in real life.
Oh dear. Oh, very, very. Oh dear. Oh, goodness gracious me, Susan. I'm bloody massive.
Goodness gracious. Oh, see, Susan, that's another popular keyword. But anyway, yes.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Rest assured, me and Connor will be reunited to do another TikTok from a Cineworld car park when we watch Doctor Who. I wish world on the reality war zone. And
I was going to call it the Well-Mannered War, but that's the Fourth Doctor adventure, so that's completely irrelevant. But the reality war, that's it. The reality bomb, that is going to be the season 2 finale.
Are you going to watch Wishworld before the reality war?
See, to keep continuity for viewers for last year, in case this is your first episode, hello and welcome. And, we just ramble about absolute nonsense. But to keep matters all similar to last year and to keep continuity on this channel intact, because it's so precious and so... time is so precious to us. I shouldn't really watch episode 7 next week or this week by the time this comes out. But I don't know. I don't know. Do I want to watch the reality war? Do I want to keep the reality mucking around in my head and then just be shocked or disappointed again, like we were in the cinema this time last year? I don't know. I'll have to decide literally the day before if I'll do it or not. But I feel like I shouldn't. Again, I feel like I should just go in, stay away from the leaks and the spoilers and our deadly group chat and just go in as blind and as minimal as possible. But I'll see if I can do it for a second year in a row. I'll see. I haven't decided yet.
Do you think your disappointment last year was worse because you just experienced the elation of a great first part of the story?
Yes. Yeah, but and not because we sort of feel like we keep saying it episode by episode, week by week, which again, it ain't a bad thing, but because we know the formula has kind of, for the most part, matched last season, I don't want that to be the case this time again. I don't want part 1 to be better than part 2 of the finale. Whether the subject matter of the finale is better than what it will be last year is a whole other debate amongst the Whoniverse. Again, we'll get into that specifically by the end of the review. And again, I'm still a bit undecided on it, and in terms of like yay or nay for the most part. It was for all by means. There was always a twist, as Russell kept hyping up this episode. There was always going to be a twist with this episode, and for the most part, it did work, and it was a bit of a moment. But again, whether or not that should have been even a cinema, imagine that was an episode 7 moment instead of being the penultimate episode. If that was a reveal, ideally on the big screen, that would have been a wow moment. Had it not been done before. Yeah, we're trying to keep vague for now.
I mean, that's fine because we will get into spoilers straight off the bat for episode 6 of 8 for season 2, Doctor Who, and when Eurovision was in space and was just as problematic. Did you? Because I mean, it's in the section to come as it normally is, but me and Andy did talk about Eurovision for a little bit, and we almost got sidetracked. But other than that, we did quite well. We actually talked about the episode, as you'll hear. Like, normally we get distracted and then just like, oh, by the way, the episode was quite good. With this one, I mean, this was one of the ones we knew about. Like, we knew about Robot Revolution. We knew about there was an animated one with Lux.
Again, you say we, not to interject. Again, to sort of keyframe to the audience, I go in as minimal as possible. Not that I, again, participate in our group chat, but I tend to go into Doctor Who as minimal as possible because I just want to turn on the TV and have that magic. But yeah, sorry, carry on. Yes, you had details known before you.
When we knew about the Interstellar Song Contest, which you would have done probably as there was trailers and things like that, and
Yeah,
the names.
exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
was this one that you was looking forward to? Was it one that you were indifferent to? Like, what did the Interstellar
I
Song
just
Contest do for you?
I just thought, considering it was, well, I just thought on paper, again, no fault, no leak, no information going into it. I just thought it'd be a Maestro sequel. I thought it'd be a sequel to The Devil's Chord, considering we had Maestro song, Interstellar song. It sounded like, oh, it's going to be another musical-ish episode. But then if it was the Eurovision Song Contest, then that would have been a dead giveaway. But the fact it was Interstellar, fair enough. I mean, for all I know, it could have been a freaking Christopher Nolan tie-in. No, I thought on paper, if anything, it was going to be a Maestro-related episode. And considering in the build-up of the season, and for those that obviously have been watching Who for the last few weeks as it's aired, the whole Pantheon God of Gods arc is very much prevalent and going forward amongst this season. So I kind of did think, oh, it's going to be again Maestro, but that's all I can really say. Just Maestro. And there was no Maestro in it. Sad face.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been a great place to have Maestro return and get old Jinx Monsoon back on the scene and some more Pantheon stuff, which this didn't link to. I mean, for the main story, there seems to be that the Pantheon is stirring, as Russell puts it, for the finale. We'll see if and how that works out in the weeks to come. But
in the next fortnight, yeah,
I really like, because this, we got cameos, because you got Rylan presenting, you got a trifecta complete for Graham Norton, where he semi-interrupts it, and he doesn't really interrupt it how I wanted him to, because as we know, like Graham Norton's live microphone was broadcast during the basement stuff for Rose, which is really lovely. It's really well written into Rose target novelization, because it's a radio interference from the nesting consciousness, so that's how that plays into the continuity.
Very nice.
You have weird animated Graham Norton from the literal closing moments of Time of Angels before the cliffhanger for Flesh and Stone. Little animated one, like Over the Rainbow or something, like when they used to do the ident at the bottom kind of thing, like coming up next, and it was little animated Graham Norton. So he's been on Doctor Who before, but as he said on Unleashed, I'm actually meant to be here now, which is quite good. And he's you see him as a nice hologram earlier on, and then he kind of interrupts the scene happening between the Doctor and Belinda. Not as much. I wanted him just purely full breaking on camera, in the way. That's why I wanted an Alton story where it's in a Madame Two Swords, and the Graham Norton one interrupts the scene full on. But alas, we'll have to wait another few years.
A full circle moment, yeah.
But I mean, I think Rylan was quite good. He's obviously playing an exaggerated version of himself, hosting the Eurovision Song Contest in space.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that it airs just before the actual Eurovision Song Contest broadcast on BBC One. It's nice to sort of both celebrate it and kind of rip the piss out of it a little bit as well, especially when the political stuff that's going on within it. I don't know if you're aware of Ncuti Gatwa being the UK spokesperson originally for Eurovision.
Yeah, I did. I didn't know really about it sort of as it was airing, but as the episode ended, that stuff and information kind of came up, and I kind of thought, oh, that's interesting to say the least, and again ties into this week's episode quite well. But then I know it was a bit of a gamble. The BBC, like we mentioned previously, again, a la football, boo, having a bit of a battle in terms of the airtime. But it turns out the BBC sort of gambled with the whole 8 p.m. slot. Or is it 8 p.m. or was it 7 p.m.? I can't remember the exact time.
7, I believe. I think Eurovision broadcast at 8, and that couldn't really move. But the FA Cup final was on before Doctor Who. And had it gone to extra time and penalties, it would have run over for another 45 minutes. So that was
a gamble that paid off, didn't it? Because it did well. It got a rating spike because of all that scenario.
Well, yeah, and I think I do say it was sandwiched between two big televisual events on a Saturday, so it kind of got the fans that wanted to watch it, but you got the hangover from the football that might have stuck around, or you get the ones that are tuning in to, like, towards the end for Eurovision, so you kind of got a couple of like boosts, so to speak. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Shooty Gatwa. So for those who don't know, the spokesperson for Eurovision is, so when they do Eurovision, then all the countries participating in Eurovision dish out their points. It's from 1 to 12. No, 1 to
Mhm.
10, and then 12 is like their main one. So like you get the list, and like bit by bit, each country gets points. We normally get 0, apart from when Sam Ryder did it and we
Yeah.
came second. And the person, the spokesperson for each country is like, they choose someone to do it. It's either someone famous or it can be a politician, anyone sort of just within the public eye for that country. And Shooty
Yeah.
Gatwa was supposed to be the British representation for that. Also tying into the fact that the episode beforehand was Space Eurovision. And so I don't know if you're aware. So, like with Eurovision's, also there's semi-finals where countries have to compete, like basically do a pre-Eurovision to get into the final.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yes.
the semi-finals, literally at the last kind of minute, you had, I think, I've got the timings on here so I can sort of be more accurate. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so at on the 15th of May at 22:16, Israel qualified for the Eurovision final. And then at 22:18, 2 minutes later, the BBC announced that Shooty Gatwa was cancelling his appearance on Eurovision for unforeseen circumstances. A lot has been going
Yes.
around that he basically he's been in support of Palestine in regards
Yeah.
to the conflict with Israel and stuff like that. And a lot of people have pointed out that maybe that was his agreement to do it, was he'd only be the spokesperson if Israel didn't qualify for the final. So then as soon as, because the timing is it's very, like, it's not
Yeah.
coincidence kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for him
Yeah.
to sort of flat out be like that in support of them and refusing to do it, when at the end of the day that could garner him a lot of free press for him and the show, really. And the
Mhm.
fact that no one's moaned about him not doing it. So, the show obviously in some capacity stands with him, despite the fact that the BBC are doing all they can to kind of, hide away genocide. But we're not here for that. We're not here for that. We're here for escapism. But if any of you want a reason to see why the BBC is being quite shitty, watch the Gary Lineker statement they did yesterday. So I don't know if you know Connor, because Gary Lineker. Did I say Gary Neville? I hope I didn't, because he's a knob. Gary Lineker, the presenter of Match of the Day for forever, basically all of my childhood,
Yeah.
is
All of
said he was stepping down at the end of the season. We have World Cup coverage next year that he was meant to do, because he's obviously normally the main figurehead of that when it comes to big international tournaments that England are involved in, and the FA Cup as well, I think he was doing. But
Right.
since
Right.
yesterday, they had a statement that, so he's ending Match of the Day anyway, because he had basically he put out, like, he'd made comments on it and the height and basically what his thoughts are on it, and that was back in 2013, and then from September 2013 onwards, because he was suspended a bit from Match of the Day, and then a lot of people didn't want to do it, so I don't know if it went ahead. But I've not been an avid watcher for a while, just because it's normally bollocks. But yeah, so then from 2023, it's almost a bit akin to when in 2015, where clearly the BBC in some way wanted to get rid of Jeremy Clarkson. Like, this is like, they've had a problem with Gary Lineker for speaking his mind when the BBC is, quote, supposed to be impartial, when it's obviously very right wing leaning, when the way that it holds Labour to account for some stuff, as it should, is much more than in comparison to how they used to hold the Conservatives to account for their actions, which wasn't very much, because, you know, money makes money. And as Lewis Hamilton said, I think in COVID, when the F1 races were still going on, at the end of the day, cash is king, and that wins out over everything. And it couldn't be more true for something like that. And the statement itself is just very disgusting, in terms of, at the end of the day, Gary Lineker's been sacked earlier than he was getting told to leave, because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
because he's like, he's made comments before about how, like, you know, refugees should be treated like humanely and nicely and things like that. And the fact that the genocide being committed at the moment is bad, which it is. So for him to basically speak like the truth, and the BBC to say, "Oh no, like you got to be impartial," and then sort of crunching down on the freedom of speech of its presenters for sure. I don't know how much it affected any cast members because I don't know. I've seen a few things posted by actors. I think Shooty's posted some stuff before, but nothing made like majorly overt. So maybe he's sort of like, how much can I get away with without the BBC going, this isn't on because we're not
Hammering
supposed to
down.
give our opinions, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all bullshit. Praise Shooty Gatwa if that is indeed the reason why he stepped away from doing something which could have gained the show a lot more traction by just being there.
Yeah.
Turns out the fucking enemy in Space Eurovision not too far away from what we're really doing, because there's also some draws that to the conflict and stuff, I believe, because Andy makes a better connection of it when you get to his section, like, because I'm just kind of fumbling my way through it. But it's obviously, in the ways it's done in the story, it's an allegory for that whole situation. And I know Russell didn't write it, but I would have liked to think that Russell went to Juno Dawson, was like, we're going to be prime time Saturday night before Eurovision. Let's, make our statement about how it's, it's all a bit stupid, really. And as the great Sir Terry Wogan said, it's stopped being a song contest a long time ago. So, but the episode itself, I had a lot of fun with. I like Shooty. I still continue to like Belinda. It's still a shame that we've not had a lot of her, and that we don't have a lot left of her, really, because I'm getting
Not
vibes.
as much, no.
I don't know about you,
Yeah,
Connor, that
yeah.
very Martha vibes, in terms of I feel like she's going to be gone at the end of the season, regardless of if the show is left on a cliffhanger or not. I feel like she's going to sort of do the Martha thing of reclaim her status quo of like, this was fun, but it shouldn't have happened, and I got stuck with you, but thanks for getting me home, kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but in other words, like a Tegan, but doesn't then come back next season. It's a time flight situation that then doesn't come back.
We're going to get back to Heathrow now.
Yeah. How can I go back to May 24th, 2025 now?
But yeah, it's especially when like storing the engine like sort of has her in the TARDIS for quite a bit of it, so it's kind of a companion light episode. Lucky Day was a Doctor and companion light episode for the most part, and
because that was the previous companion, that was a companion episode.
Yeah, so
that was the
she wasn't in the Christmas special, so it's like we've not had a lot compared to what we've had with Ruby. And Ruby's also, I think, meant to be in the finale, like both episodes of the finale. So
yeah,
judging by that, we're going to get a Doctor and two companion dynamic. So we've not had a lot of time with just the Doctor and Belinda.
No, it was the first 3 weeks, and then it's kind of diminished as the last couple of weeks have aired. Yeah,
especially when Miranda is such an amazing actor, and I love her, and I love that whole thing that they've got going on. She seems very adult. She just seems a lot more in control of herself and her emotions, and like she's just someone with a real job that wants to get back to Earth. Like, she's having fun.
Yeah.
She maybe forgives the Doctor a bit too fast in places, but that's also down to the fact that we only have 8 episodes to work with. And as we've all said, like 10 episodes with less budget would be fine, at least, because then you get a bit more room for the series to grow into it, because it's like we've had 3/4 of the series, and what have we really done? Not particularly much, but it's at least it didn't get sold short like Flux. At least it's not been 6 episodes. So
very true.
We'll get to the whole sort of ending with Shooty, but in terms of 15 this episode, like I was happy with him. I like the way he interacted with was it Mike and Gary?
Mike and Gary, yeah. I like you. Yeah.
That was a nice that was a good laugh as well, when like I like you, Gary. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, oh my God.
I like how unapologetically camp this episode was with the did I just save myself with a confetti cannon? Like, yeah. Oh, exactly. So camp, yeah. And because I did joke about the fact that I don't think Russell T Davies came back. I think John Nathan Turner came back, which then came to pass when I'd obviously talked about a certain Time Lord villain. And I talked about Colin Baker and just countless. It was quite John Nathan Turnery this episode, and not in a bad way. Ken Dodd
Yeah,
wasn't there, which was a shame. But
intentional, but yeah.
I enjoyed it as well because it felt like an event. It felt a bit samey in places with like the game station stuff from the end of series 1. Fucking hell, they're all the same.
Yeah,
The end of series 1.
Yeah, satellite vibe vibes. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of Voyage of the Damned on it in terms of like all the people sucked
Yes.
out and the TARDIS has gone. But not nearly long enough. I feel like had this episode had, because the pace was really good, but I feel like just to have some more character moments, if we could have had like an extra 10, 15 minutes on it, it might have settled
Would
a
have
bit more.
helped.
Maybe we would have
I'm
like
with
had
you.
some.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You could have sort of gradually contextualized the Doctor's anger and the ice in my heart, darling, that's still there stuff.
Yeah.
Which
The
me,
yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
it sat fine with me at the time. I know that for others like Will, it didn't sit well at all, especially compared to last week.
Yeah.
And
One
also,
extreme to the other.
yeah, but like at the time, it kind of, and also, like I said to you, like it was a joke, but like it has to be there, otherwise the episode kind of doesn't happen.
Can't happen. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you could take it out, and it would probably still be as effective. But I like it's the Doctor like almost goes too far moment and then stops, albeit it's because he's having a vision that maybe it's like is this taunting me, like because maybe it's some anger from that, because the vision that he gets, like he was sort of almost built up, to accept all of this last year, and he didn't get all of that. So there's possibly some anger in there, similar to like Capaldi being lied to about, I went back to Gallifrey's original coordinates and it's still there and Missy lied. Or like when Rose is believed to have been shot by the Dalek in Dalek, but then he's like, I lost her once, I'm not going to lose her again. Right, I've got to kill this thing, kind of thing. The gun moment in the Doctor's daughter, like I never would. That whole stuff. There's anger in that. I know that he extended the Mavity field just before it all kicked off. So the question would be that if he thinks Belinda's been sucked out into space, she's not dead. But at that point in time, he didn't know that, one, he could get everyone back, and two, he didn't really know that anyone could survive until he'd done it. And he was woken up by shock in space and then managed to get back onto the station. So
with the confetti cannon. Yeah.
Yes. Before we talk about the reveals and sort of that sort of climax of it, what did you make of the what did you make of the villain and the performance there from Kid?
Without calling him Comrade Junior, I liked Kid. I wanted to call him Kit, almost as Harrington, but Kid.
No, sorry, Kid. I wasn't in a Doctor Who episode with my wife Rose Leslie.
No. Sorry, me bad. I got that mistaken. It was starring your kid though. Yeah, no, not his kid. Sorry, Kit. Shout out to Kit Harrington's kid watching this in the future. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, no, Kid was good. He was essentially another comrade, but sci-fi comrade. He was not a human. He had a bit of he was essentially going, well, I will go full death. He was a Hellion, and I kind of, as soon as I figured out what a Hellion was, my brain kind of sparked, and I knew, without knowing what a Hellion was, I kind of knew what it was going down, but I couldn't fully link all the dots. But as soon as Hellion was established, I was like, oh, I know something, but I didn't know until it happened. So it was kind of irritating because, it wasn't just Comrade with an alien sci-fi twist, but I did get very much Lucky Day episode 4 Comrade vibes, but not as effective. But whether or not that's just because Lucky Day was aired before this one, maybe I would be saying the other way around if the characters had been swapped. But yeah, Kid. What a kid. He went through. He did get what he deserved in some respect. During the Doctor's darker moment of the episode, or controversial moment in our group chat. But I was surprised that well, as far as we know, isn't going to be in the finale. I just had that slight impression that in his very last scene that he was gonna at least try to get some revenge for what the Doctor put him through. But who's to say that can't come into fruition on the big screen, ideally? But it may be a bit soon for that. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. There's always a plan B.
There is always a plan B, and there's always a twist at the end.
Yes, yeah.
In terms of, did you like the songs that were in it? Have you watched the Unleashed episode?
Guess what? I still haven't.
Yeah. You can do a catch up on all the Unleashed stuff.
I will do for sure at the end. I could even cheekily like just stare at it as I'm listening and talking to you right now. Maybe I could just skim through it and be like, oh, that's a moment. That's something. Well, what is this week's episode like? Not again going brief tangent, but is anything special happening in this week's episode of Unleashed? Like, what did it cover? Is there anything of interest that you needed?
No, like it did a bit on the music. In terms of the Duggadoo was a complete Murray Gold invention.
Good. I did Duggadoo.
Russell and Juno were. Hang on, I'm just getting something. I'll be right back. You carry on for me.
Juno Dawson, first time directed episode, although not new to the world of Doctor Who because she wrote a really good 13th Doctor novel that I kind of would read, because if it's anything like Juno's direction and writing this episode, I think I might actually go and read it. I'm just trying to find, whilst George is away, is it The Good Doctor? I thought she did a couple more. Is it Doctor Who, The Good Doctor? Yes, she wrote a Doctor Who book called Doctor Who, The Good Doctor, starring Jodie Whittaker. Well, not literally starring, but basically the characters of the 13th Doctor and Yaz. I've totally forgot Mandip Gill's name. How embarrassing. Where I'm just going to try and quickly read a quick blurb of the book. Graham, Yaz, and Ryan. I thought the whole fam. I thought it was just a Yaz sort of season 13 sort of post-flux story. Essentially, planet of Lobos, the Doctor halts a violent war between a native Lobot and human colonists. Job done. The TARDIS crew departs only for Ryan to discover he's left his phone behind again. Finds it slipped hundreds of years into the future. Yeah, literally, I was just brief tangent. Juno Dawson, my brain then clicked because she, again, not new to the world of Doctor Who. I was just going to say, like, do a cheap plug for her book that she wrote before this episode, The Good Doctor, one that I could be tempted to get, maybe. I don't know.
Good. Yeah, because she's done Big Finish and stuff, hasn't she?
She did do a couple of Torchwood audios. I mean, ones that don't. I mean, in my head, don't stick out as any important ones, mind you. But again, I'm not going to knock the writer or those stories. I've not got around to them. But this was her first Doctor Who, screenplay, big screen episode, and she did a thoroughly good job with it. And as I say, I would like to see more of it. Yeah, more of her talent.
If we get a season 3, Juno Dawson needs to come back.
Oh, big time. Even she's
so like Russell got her and himself to write some weird, crazy lyrics. It's weird when sometimes you listen to the Eurovision song and the lyrics are a bit weird. Like you've got the character Cara, what's the face, singing "My Big Feet," and you've got "I love you, but my heart says no." The
yes
thingy one. I mean, it's all very clever to like have all those kind of things. Duggadoo, obviously being 100% a Murray Gold thing. We'll probably get a Duggadoo released before the Series 10 soundtrack. I really like all those bits just make the world feel real. The fact that you sent me the thing of, I think it was mentioned by Mike as well before, that the for the arena, the logo is the sound wave of the giggle.
Yes, no, that blew my mind. Well, today, by the time of recording, yeah, that was today. That was a bit of a shock. It's like, oh, that good attention to blooming detail. Yeah, yeah, that was cool. I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like that, I'm like, oh.
There's a good supporting cast, like we've spoken about before. I think they were very good. I think it was well directed.
Absolutely, as I say, Juno Dawson was again the highlight. Well, not just the highlight of this episode. I mean, Shooty's Doctor we praise every week, but I feel like even with the controversy, the debated moment amongst the Whoniverse, I think Shooty's Doctor does go to wonderful places this episode, and even when Belinda's life is at risk, it very much felt like we mentioned season 1 vibes, parting of the ways with Rose, and
a bit like Rose, I'm coming to get you as well.
Yeah, it was. It felt finale-ish. Like in my theory of this being a stealth 3-parter, this is, if anything, this is like the most loose part 1 to a finale, potentially, depending on how the momentum goes in episode 7, especially.
Yeah.
Nice.
So in terms of the resolution, so the Hellions are basically rebelling because the sponsor for the Interstellar Song Contest is poppy honey. So like the blazing poppy fields were purged and like pillaged from their planet and then burnt so they can never grow them back again.
Yeah.
And that also links in because and he's got a good thing about it, because one of the main sponsors for the Eurovision Song Contests is an Israeli company, I believe. So it's kind of like is it drawing some stuff from that as well to sort of be like, hey, this isn't good when you do these kind of things just because you're getting money from other people. But
okay.
The less we keep saying about that, the better, because we're not here to we're not the BBC though, so we can't suck each other, so it's fine. So that whole thing, and like we're doing exactly what you're telling us to do, because, or like you think of us kind of, was it that what Kit says, like I'm doing exactly what you think of me, sort of thing, because they've got the horns they're believed to be of the devil, or the horns give you psychic powers, and I think that Kara character's even like, well, you should like saying stuff about a civilization you don't even understand, like kind of thing. So it was kind of semi obvious that she was one of them, especially in the way she'd they all had a similar hairstyle.
Yes, the hair did give it away. The hair gave it away.
I like the song at the end in the Hellion, because that's part of the thing with real Eurovision. Sometimes you can hear the song in the foreign language and still connect with it because it's the music and the emotion from that. I liked all of those kind of things. Did you like, again with the sort of series 1 callback stuff, the Delta Wave?
Yes, the Delta Wave. Every reviewer I've seen since has always, and even I, upon airtime, was like, the Delta Wave. That is a Doctor Who thing. Where was the Delta Wave used? Because that definitely was it. Series 1, 100% used in Doctor Who before. But I was like, it bugged me. Where the hell? I'm still trying to find out about the Delta Wave. Where was it used?
You would know. Part of the ways. Like big transmitter,
right?
A Delta Wave, it'll wipe out like the whole Earth as well as the Daleks. Like it's
die
as a human or live as a Dalek.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It is that moment, right? Fair enough. I knew Delta Wave, and I was like, oh, that's a Doctor Who Easter egg. I knew it was something. I just couldn't think for the life of me where that actually was used. But there you go. Thank you for answering that. Series 1. Series 1 is the key to everything.
Series 1 is always the key. But yeah, that was a nice little. Oh, this is something we've done before.
Yeah.
What did you make of the whole ice in my heart, darling stuff, and basically almost killing Kid?
Almost killing Kid. He didn't mean to die, but I felt when the Doctor was, unleashing his anger, and because of Star Wars is on my mind, it being the month of May, I had a cheeky little Palpatine thought of like the Master in this case being like, "Good Doctor, good, let your anger flow through you." I just had a weird John Sim vision of being like, "Yes, good Doctor, good, die Doctor, no, die Doctor, no,
die Doctor."
Yeah, Anthony Ainley. Yeah, the songs. I mean, yeah, like I say, the music is more covered on Unleashed. I don't if they will get a Spotify release of some sort in the future. I have to rewatch the episode again to kind of pick up. You know, even the song that Cora sung at the end. Not that I
Cora, yeah.
wasn't fully digesting what she was really saying and the lyrics and stuff, but it was kind of intertwined with the Doctor, of course, doing Doctor things, running around, saving lives. Da, 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 da. So I was kind of invested in that. But the song, again, was prevalent and had a message of its own and important to what was going on anyway. And it was her moment of, being free and basically coming out and, saying who she is. And even the crowds, the typical like, yeah, boo, you're Hellion, you suck, and without literally being like, yeah, you're rubbish. But then, the audience then coming around to accepting for her for who she really is, and she didn't have to live that lie anymore, and all that stuff is powerful and great. But me not being an avid Eurovision watcher anyway, it was just the setting of Eurovision in space was what was appealing, but then it was always the build up of that Russell gave this episode that ultimately was worth it because it Doctor Who tried to do the MCU. It wasn't an end credit post. It wasn't like a post credit scene. It literally was first wave of credits, and then you get your first. You get Well, there's two moments that again you and Andy probably covered anyway, but there's two moments. One during the actual episode, and then we get an episode again post credit, mid credit, however many credits you want to call it, literally at the very end, which are important going forward and have changed the show forever and ever.
So, what do you make of the first reveal in the mid credits? Because I think the second one's more surprising and a bit bigger.
So the one during the episode we're going to do second, and we're just going to talk like post.
Yeah, because I think that one was an actual shock.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we'll get to that one in a second. Yes. Post credit. It was good. It was good because it was something that we'd been bugging. It's something that we'd been dying to know since the beginning of this era, since this run, since Church and Ruby Road. Essentially, it was the revelation of Mrs. Flood. Who was Mrs. Flood? Why is Mrs. Flood? Oh, do you want better? Why is Gamora? I just had to make that joke. But we found out who Mrs. Flood actually was, and it wasn't just a cop out. Like it was a full blown reveal, and a good callback to something that happened during the 60th, where again, is it going to be the norm now? Is there a term of regeneration? Is the term regeneration actually dead now? Is the bi-generation going to be the norm going forward? Or is it just?
I think it's related to the plot and the fact that bi-generation was created and like all the Doctors split off, and that's why Tales from the TARDIS are still canon, but have actually happened since those Doctors' last adventures, kind of thing. So,
right,
I believe at some point it will sync back up because then you'll have to get a point. Otherwise, you'll just have there's all these versions of the Doctor running around at the same time, which there is anyway because that's how the timelines work. But
wibbly wobbly stuff. Yeah,
it's like they've all split off and now they're aged. It's like it'll come to a point where they will come back up and we'll have a regeneration into a 16th Doctor at some point. Hopefully not yet.
No, keyword not yet. I don't want it to be yet. I don't want it to be on the big screen in the cinema. Russell, if you're it's the damage is done. We can't beg for any last minute changes. Don't you dare do it. Don't you dare do it. Shooty's literally coming into his own. I feel like with this season more than season one. I mean, again, we're praising all of Shooty. The whole run has been really good, but it would pain me to see Shooty go if the worst was to happen. I don't want that to be the case. I think most of the fans would agree.
I would definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
But that reveal in the post credits after everyone's been saved to the Bucks Fizz montage, which was great. There was one more person that had to be saved before the song contest could continue.
Well, what? One more. Wait, hang on. Well, are we switching scenes now, or are we still talking about the first?
It's the same one, because they're saving everyone for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah. So the last, so the last person in so basically, the Dr. Mavity Field, cryopod, and they basically unfroze everyone. Essentially, the last person that had to be unfrozen turned out to be Mrs. Flood. Dun dun dun. But then her body is, I guess, wearing a bit thin, to harken back to an old incarnation, as she says herself, like, for this time, like, basically she gave away Time Lady, and instantly she is a fucking Time Lord, and then she bi-generates into a new incarnation of, drum roll please, edit it in, the bloody Rani.
Yep.
The bloody Rani.
The bloody Rani.
The bloody Rani, which again, I gasped. I genuinely was like, oh, it actually invoked that much of a reaction out of me, even though, again, for the longest time, as many times as I've been in the room with you doing it in person, we've been saying this for a while, that it's always the Rani. So as much as it is a moment, it felt like, oh, it had to be the Rani, didn't it? But again, it wasn't the Master. It was not the Master. It wasn't Missy, because that feels like every other season we get the Master reveal. There's been one too many. So I'm just happy it wasn't the sodding Master. The one I want is Omega, but I could say it's on the cards. It's on the cards.
Possibly with how Russell worded the fact that the unholy trinity and the two Ranis are one.
Yeah, they're one. Yeah, whoa. As I say, is the Rani just it? Is there more? I don't know. Like, yeah, it's exciting though.
Archie Punjabi looks like she's going to be a great incarnation of the Rani. My main thing is, like, the Rani kind of doesn't matter because we've had Missy, and that's essentially like the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know people saying that the Rani was never Camp. Like, have they not seen Time in the Rani?
Who am I? Who are you?
I mean, Russell done a nice post about Kate Amara and saying that, like, everything they do for the finale is like dedicated to her, the one and only at that point version of the Rani, who is, for those who don't know, a female Time Lord, a brilliant scientist by all accounts, and someone that used to know the Doctor and the Master, and someone we've not seen since 1993's Dimensions in Time, but actually in terms of, the main run of the show since Time in the Rani in 1987.
Yeah, Time was 87, and then Mark of the Rani was 85. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I actually watched Mark of the Rani since this episode, so yeah, it's weird. Rani fever.
Because like you said, like, Rani's always been like a one that's, every time it's a mysterious woman, it's like, is it the Rani or is it Susan? And that's mainly what it's always been, isn't it? And ironic, we get sort of both of those in this episode. But and it turns out my John Nathan Turner comparisons weren't that far away, because the Rani's in it. I'm looking forward to see how that plays out, because she's kind of become subservient to the Rani, because now she's become a Rani, but I'm now the Rani.
So Archie is prime Rani, even though Mrs. Flood is the original body. So that's the thing. The whole bi-generation thing is weird, because even, again, going back to the giggle slightly, like, David Tennant is the 14th Doctor. He's OG body, and I get, like, Shooty, bi-generates out of David, but I always thought then as though Shooty is the future going forward and everything, David was still like our Doctor that we followed for 60 years, and this Doctor, bi-generated Shooty that had gone through therapy, again, we keep using those words over these episodes, had gone through therapy, is like an unknown future incarnation that's meant to have everything under control and in check, because, again, he's the best of our Doctor. I can say, is this the case with this Rani now? Like, is Archie going to be, again, the main Rani going forward? Is Mrs. Flood happy to be her subservient, or do you think there's going to be like a twist within the Rani twist? Like, do you think Mrs. Flood is going to fight back, bicker amongst themselves, and she's going to be
maybe sort of like Ella Misty in World Enough and Time and Doctor Falls? We can only find out, really, but it's something that everyone's kind of expected that she would be the Rani, so like no one's really been that surprised. I'm interested in it as long as it plays out well in the finale and it all kind of works, but we'll have to wait and see for that for the next episode, and definitely for when we see it in cinema. Is it going to work?
Yes.
But yeah, I'd like to see sort of how it plays out with Conrad coming back and things like that. What's the wrap up for this? Is it going to work? Is it going to be actually sort of made clear and done well compared to last year? But the thing that's sort of a
Yeah.
thread that I don't think is necessarily for the season finale, and more so the bloody, what am I saying, like the era, whether that be RTD2 or the Shooty Gatwa era, is the fact that when he's
Mm.
frozen in space, the thing that shocks him back into consciousness is a vision that he actually has as bloody Carol Ann Ford in the TARDIS as bloody hell, Susan, I'm bloody massive.
Susan did. Caroline Ford does not look massive. She does not look massive. No, I
Well, she's
know,
got a
but that
massive
it's
telly.
a vision. It's a vision that the audience has had. Like long time Who fans have always thought, where the fuck is Susan? Why the fuck was Susan not mentioned in it? Being a vocal point this time last year, again plays into this narrative, but also like pissed us off as well because we've had no resolve then. But hopefully, like you just mentioned, if it isn't going to be in the next 2 weeks and drive the show forward, a la season 3, is that going to be the end goal of this R2D2? Is this going to be the return of Susan? Is that what we're
Hopefully,
going for?
because
Yeah.
obviously, like he's had the thing of like he thought Susan Twist was his granddaughter Susan before, and it's like it kind of took it, like had that hope strung out there and then taken away from him, and then that's sort of obviously been in his mind. It's something that he's clearly thinking about in some capacity of her still
Mm.
being around, because we've had we've had time Lords, like we've had the Rani return, we've had the Master return a few times.
Yeah.
We've had
Yeah.
Rassilon, we've had several Time Lord Society back in terms of the whole planet as well, because we never knew what
Yeah.
happened to Susan in regards to the Time War. You know, she's had
No.
audio adventures that are canon,
In
obviously, to
between.
the main show as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
nice to
Yeah.
see Carol bloody Ann Ford back. And the
In the
fact that, did you
flesh.
notice her earrings were made to look like William Hartnell's ring that he wears in the 60s, like the blue sort
Oh
of
no, I
jewel
did not read.
thing.
I did not read it. I didn't see that. Really? The
Yes.
attention to
Have another
detail.
look, love. Very
The
nice.
attention
And
to
it's just nice to
detail.
have,
Wow.
yeah, it's nice to have that as a thread. I don't necessarily want it to play into the finale. I feel like it's a long-term sort of thing, but I'm fine either way.
Yeah.
Like that was a nice shock and surprise. It was like, oh my fuck, it's the last
Yeah.
surviving cast member of the original run of the show.
Well, yeah. Yes, that is sad but true. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It was a holy shit moment. It really was a what? Eyes bulged out your face, cartoon exaggerated moment. Tom and Jerry, what the fuck am I looking at? Moment for me. But it was a real, oh my god, a tale as old as time. It's actually Susan Bloody Foreman on the
Yeah,
screen for more than a second. It was a couple of seconds, but it was worth it. A
it
couple of
was
seconds that you
so
better
worth
follow
it.
up on, Russell.
Find me, grandfather. Go back. Find me. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm, you know, in terms of the performance of the angerness aside, maybe that will also play into how he deals with the stuff that's
Yes.
coming his way
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
finale. Maybe that will play into that, and we'll get some kind of more sort of context for why that happened and sort of thing. But other than that, I really bloody had fun with this one. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did, but I did,
No,
and that's
it was.
that's
It was an
where the
event.
news go.
It was an event. This episode, it definitely was. Like you did not want to miss. This is the one episode as well where, a la spoilers and Russell's words, like I pretty much woke up early that morning. If it wasn't, I think I turned. I watched it on my iPad just before 9 o'clock. Like it literally was the first thing I did when I woke up. It was, oh, I've got to watch Doctor Who. Which I'm not saying I haven't had that feeling week upon week, but whereas I hadn't rushed to get around to Doctor Who, I literally woke up and thought, oh my god, yeah, this is the episode where I can't not, for the life of gossip and spoilers, I can't not miss anything in case I missed something megally important, which were two big things. And literally an hour later, had I not watched it that early in the morning, my phone blew up straight away. So I'm glad I did watch it super, super early that day. But it would have been fun had we done it broadcast time as well. If we really had turned off the internet and watched it as a family, like on air, But yeah, other plans got in the way of that one. But yeah.
But your arbitrary rating, your number rating?
I would give this. Depending on how it goes in the finale, I can't give it too high. I'll say 7.5. 7.5.
Yeah, I'd say like it's a high 7 or like a low 8. Like I really enjoyed it, but
Solid.
like you say, that reveal draws it into the final 2 episodes. So I don't think my opinion of the whole episode lives or dies off of whether the next episode is shit or not. But as much as it would be, say, like if Wishworld was really good and then Reality War was bad, like those two would kind of be like, well, they kind of affect each other, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the Interstellar Song Contest. What did Andy think of it though? Let's see now. Let's listen in for these Interstellar teats.
Oh, we're starting off on it. We're starting off on it already. Wonderful.
Well, Andy, we've got to start as we mean to go on, right?
Fishing out those old interstellar teats.
Space fishing with the confetti cannon. They're like, so, I mean, if there's space teats, is the confetti cannon the nipple tassels? Just something for you to think about there.
That's the secret lore of Dugadoo. It's just it's like the animated pinata that was meant to be just stuff with nipple tassels, and then somehow it came to life and made a song.
Like an Ann Summers warehouse becomes sentient.
Yeah, essentially.
Now there, Russell, if you're listening, which you're not, that's what we want for season 3. I mean, how much further camp can we go? I mean, we've had a Eurovision episode. We've had Jinx one soon. Like, where else? Where's the next step? Surely Kylie's got to come back.
I mean, it's what the fans want, by which I mean us.
Yeah, the fans is in me and you and no one else.
Me and you, who are, let's be honest, the most important fans.
I mean, we are. I mean, the joke about the Cheryl Cole and the Hindenburg episode, I do still want to see it. What other natural disasters can we put pop stars in? Bloody Camille Cabello on like in the tsunami from like 2006. Like we do that. Like she's just in it.
What, the Boxing Day tsunami?
Yeah. You could have
But no, she is doing that. But as she's doing it, she's singing her hit song Havana, but the word is tsunami. So it's like tsunami,
na. Bloody, what's her name? What's the other one? What's the other pop star called?
There's many. Chapel Roan.
The one with the quite square head, and she was in that film with Henry Cavill.
Sorry, I don't know who you mean.
What? Am I?
Oh man!
Am I having a breakdown? I'm gonna Google pop star Argyle.
Oh wait. Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa, yes, you can have Dua Lipa in the Icelandic volcano thing that caused all those airport problems. She could be. She's in the volcano.
Is that the slightly less threatening sequel to Fires of Pompeii, just the Ashes of Iceland?
The Ashes of Iceland. We got the title and everything.
But the Pyrophile aren't actually trying to destroy anything. They're just an inconvenience.
And like to tie into, because like the confusion of the name and all the memes, Kerry Katona would have to be the one-off companion.
Is that because the ashes look like cocaine and she'll be snorting it up?
Well, that, and also that's why mums go to Iceland. That's how the day is saved, like Kerry Ex Machina. It's like when Astrid, God
Kerry
bless her soul.
Kerry Katona turns into Nunu from the Teletubbies, like literally a Hoover, and just snorts up all the ashes like cocaine, and that means that the planes can start flying again.
Yeah, and like then falls a la Astrid in Voyage of the Damned, and the Doctor's like, "No, stop me falling! The septum's come off." I don't know. Why are we not writing Doctor Who, Andy? Is the main question of the day, and then it's probably things like that. Hello, everyone. I've probably done this in the other bit. I don't know how I'm structuring these because fucking hell, that was we lost one episode, Andy, because timing wise, Will was then out shopping when we were doing it for what was the one before Story in the Engine?
Fuck, Lucky Day.
Lucky Day, yes. And then we did that, and then the file corrupted, so I couldn't save it, so we lost that one. And then there was I know I'm the king of questionable internet connections, but it sounded like the Spoonheads from Bells of St. John had penetrated every orifice of Will's internet and his soul, because it was like he was being puppeteered. But then it came out a lot clearer when I actually downloaded the thing. It was just talking to him, was like, okay, I've kind of got to guess what he's saying. So it's probably not my most coherent episode, but then what is? And now we're gonna have this 3-hour long chat about Space Eurovision, which I'm
Space
so
Eurovision, yeah.
So excited. Like fucking hell, I can't even speak. Like how everyone reacted in the group to the episode. I mean, so much to the point that, like, I believe Mike and Will have both left it, haven't they?
Have they?
Yes.
Why?
I think you had to fuck off it, the shore, yay, and then Mike did the peace out and then dropped as well. Yeah, people.
Wait, I have clearly not paid enough attention in this chat. What the fuck happened? Did they have an argument again?
Probably like a semi-argument. Let me put them back in.
This happens.
But anyway, Doctor Who. It's Doctor Who. All we talk about is Doctor Who. That's the catchy jingle that we're doing now. Before the finale, which I gave to Dom. I didn't really give him the suggestion, so I was like, "Oh my god, what's it going to be like?" And then it's like, "Oh, maybe he'll be happy because it looks like it's going to be fucking insane either way." We get one last chat with you, Andy, and that's the most important thing because it's fun, and we might get to do this next year or the year after, actually, because 2027 looks like Doctor Who's going to continue without Disney's involvement or not.
Yeah, I mean it is nice knowing the future of the show since I last appeared.
Yes, even though we've not had an official word, it's just been reported, I believe, by the Mirror and the source close to the show, as it normally goes. But it's nice to sort of have a more positive outlook out there, and we assume that in some capacity the show would carry on regardless, whether it would be, Big Finish, or you'd have a couple of years and then it would come back, or even if it was off the air for 10 years. We'd wait. We've been patient. We've done it before. We'll do it again, even though we don't really want to, because God damn it, I don't want to lose this man as the Doctor. Despite what some of the characterization might tell you this week, what with this one, obviously you picked this one, and then you were able to do the Well.
Yes.
I wonder, Andy, what drew you to this episode that made you want to review it?
Well, if it wasn't obvious from our many interactions, George, I am a flaming homosexual.
No. You've hidden it very well.
Well, Phil and I absolutely love Eurovision. Not so much in the last couple of years because of the involvement of a certain genocidal country, but that's not the topic of this podcast. But we love Eurovision.
Switzerland.
What's that again?
Bloody Switzerland.
But no, we love Eurovision, and the moment I found out that there was going to be basically Doctor Who does Eurovision, I was like, "Fuck yes, that's
like your
great.
MO, isn't it? That's That's like if you could have designed, if Russell T Davies could have designed you specifically an episode. Do you feel like this was a present for you?
Quite possibly, yes.
Well, make sure you tell him thanks, and then he can write us the weird space nipple tassels end of this trilogy kind of thing that we're doing.
Do I have to tell him to? Do I have to tell him to get the dildo out?
Oh yes. Well, was the what was the? I can't believe I'm doing this. What was the dildo consensus on this week's episode? Was it get it out, you've earned it, or was it kind of?
I believe it was get. It was like Juno Dawson, get all the dildos out, all the dildos.
All in the world, or just like that she had in the house?
Why not both?
There you go. That's Chloe, isn't it? That does that's her rating
Yes,
system. Is
yeah.
dildo in, dildo out. Not to be euphemistic.
That is literally how I. If I want to read a review for an episode of Doctor Who, that is the first one I will look for. Is what did Chloe think? Are we getting the dildos out today?
And then you know you're on for a good one, don't you? So did you watch this one with the 8 a.m. gang? Did you watch it throughout the day? Did you watch it on broadcast?
So I work Saturday mornings, every Saturday
Cha-ching,
morning.
snap. Yep.
So I can't watch it with the 8 a.m. gang because I'm stuck at work in a hospital, which is fine. But it did mean that while everyone on Twitter was losing their shit, I had to sit there being like, I can't look at any of this. What was I going to say? No, so I was going to watch it when I got home, but then I got a message from, because me and Phil host a Eurovision party every year. So a couple of our friends who also watch Doctor Who, or have been watching it since RTD came back anyway, said, "Oh, do you want us to come over a bit early so we can all watch Doctor Who together?" So we watched it almost in time with the broadcast. I think we were slightly ahead. We started the episode at like 6:30-ish, and I think the broadcast might have been around 7.
Yeah, I think it was.
So yeah, we watched it almost in line with the actual like television broadcast. But yeah, it was. This is going to be an interesting one to review because I enjoyed it a lot. But I think I do have a couple of criticisms of it, so we'll see. We'll see sort of where we.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was one of those ones. It was kind of. I've seen a lot of people say like, it kind of, equally, it's got sort of like the magic that it used to have in terms of like drawing in an audience because it was a fun campy space adventure. There was some after effects, so there was a returning character, there was some threads to take us into the finale, and it was kind of it felt big because I know there was Russell doing the thing, oh, you want to make sure you watch this as soon as you can because there's going to be spoilers, which there was. I know that like Twitter and Instagram was a fucking minefield for that stuff. Luckily, I didn't really see anything and watched it on broadcast. I was glad the football match didn't run over so that it would just start on time. There was no extra time, just straight into it, and then Eurovision, and it was like, oh, this is great. I like when Doctor Who is timed well, like with what's going on in the rest of the broadcast schedule, especially when I know earlier days when it came back, you had a few times it was off during the week that Eurovision was on. Like I think specifically Series 3, there was a gap between. Was it?
I can't remember.
I think Blink might have been one side of it. I mean, I'll try and get it up and tell you. But
I want to say,
go for it.
I might be
We're
wrong.
doing full spoilers, by the way.
I want to say,
yep.
Sorry, go on.
We're doing it just for the audience. We're doing full spoilers because by the time it comes out, just fucking watch it because it's one of those you gotta watch it.
I don't think we've ever done spoiler free on this podcast.
I tried to, then I get too caught up in it.
I have a very distinct memory, and I don't know why, but I have a very distinct memory of there being a trailer for the second half of the series after the Lazarus experiments. I want to say the gap was there.
Yes, the gap was there. Yes, because I remember Family of Blood and Human Nature were parts of it, weren't they? Like the trailer bit.
Yeah.
Development, writing, filming. release. Yes. The series was initially planned to conclude a week earlier, but on the 2nd of May 2007, episodes 7 to 13 were pushed back a week due to Eurovision Song Contest 2007. Rather than air 42 in an earlier time slot, Doctor Who Confidential also aired alongside each of the episodes, continuing on from the previous series. So they put, yeah. Yeah,
I cannot
Eurovision
believe I
2007.
remembered that. That was somewhere in like a back drawer of my brain. That little nugget of information was like buried somewhere.
And you found it, and that's the main thing now. Who won Eurovision? Oh, Serbia, obviously.
2007, yes, it
2007.
was Serbia. I could have told you that.
Okay. We're gonna do who was
Oh God, okay.
the Eurovision entry for the United Kingdom that year? And I guessed it before I actually just saw it, so that's amazing.
2007. Oh, that wasn't the year we had Blue, was it?
No. Yeah, it's the year we probably wish we had Blue.
Oh wait, no. Oh, go on.
Scooch with Flying the Flag.
Oh, it was Scooch. Oh fuck.
One of the most memorable Eurovision entries. And yet,
I thought Scooch was 2008 for some reason, but I know Blue. Actually, Blue might have been in the 2010. But I think that was also like there was one year where we sent a lady called Jade Newell, I want to say her name was. And I mainly only remember her performance because she was singing and she like walked past her orchestra and one of the violinists accidentally smacked her in the face.
Oh, nice.
But no, yes, Eurovision, it's great. Doctor Who is also great.
It is. I mean, I'm now caught up in the whole Eurovision. I mean, we're not going to get much better than Sam Ryder, are we? Really?
You know what? I really liked our entry this year, and I thought we got absolutely shafted by the public vote.
But then there's always the thing of like that we're hated because of, especially more since Brexit.
Yeah. I feel like Sam Ryder proved, though, that if we do send something really good, people will vote for it.
Yeah. Or we just send a really nice bloke. Contest counts. Oh, so James Newman was meant to go in 2020, and then the
contest was cancelled because of COVID. So everyone who was set to participate in 2020 got invited to participate again in 2021, and most of them did accept. Yeah. I think some didn't, but most did.
Remember the Big Five? It's like fucking football in there. Sam Ryder comes second, and then we come 25th, 18th, and 19th.
Yeah, funnily enough, we finished one position lower this year with double the score.
Yeah, 46 points to 88.
Yeah.
And we hosted it in 2023 because Ukraine couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. What the bloody hell was that?
You could almost say, what the hell just happened?
You could. United Kingdom, the Big Five. In the 1999, we're just gonna talk about Eurovision for a minute. In 1999, a rule change allowed the United Kingdom, along with France, Germany, and Spain, to automatically qualify for the final, irrespective of their recent scores, and without entering a semi-final, due to their participating broadcasters being the largest financial contributors to the EBU. Due to their untouchable status in the contest, these countries became known as the Big Four, which became 5 in 2011, following the return of Italy to the contest. In 2008, it was reported that the Big Four could lose their status and be forced to compete in semi-finals. However, this never materialised, and the rule remained in place. In the same year, the BBC defended using money from the TV licence fee payers for the contest when Liberal Democrat MP Richard Younger Ross had tabled a Commons motion which called for the corporation to withdraw its £173,000 funding for the annual cost. Former Eurovision commentator Sir Terry Wogan that same year also claimed that the show is no longer a music contest, and after the final of that year's edition had ended. And then Terry Wogan became sentient and passed on to the big Eurovision Song Contest in the sky. Who won it in 2008? Was it Norway, Fairy Tale?
Yeah, No, that was 2009. Was Alexander Rybak?
2000.
2008 was, I want to say, Russia.
Yes, Russia. Believe.
It was Russia, then Norway, and then 2010 was Germany, then 2011 was Azerbaijan, then 2012 was Sweden, 2013 was Denmark, 2014 was Austria, 2015 was Sweden, 2016 was Ukraine, 2017 was Portugal, first time they ever won, 2018 was Israel, 2019 was the Netherlands, 2021 was Italy, 2022 was Ukraine, 2023 was Sweden, 2024 was Switzerland, and this year was Austria.
Austria won it this year.
Yes.
Ah. At least
Thank fuck.
because wasn't there like a point where Israel were dangerously close to winning it?
Oh yeah, nearly the entire televote, Israel were like untouchable. It was literally down to the very last person to be called for the televote. Austria overtook them because they had top jury points.
Jesus Christ! But then, like, I've seen a lot of people saying that those votes are also shafted with.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that the televote was very heavily rigged, which I fully believe. Like, Israel were the only country advertising for votes, literally telling people you can vote for 20 times per SIM card, per credit card. So, like, essentially, coercing people into using multiple cards and multiple accounts to keep voting for Israel. Yeah, it was very shit. Austria was not my winner, but I was glad they won.
Well, someone had to, just like someone had to win the Interstellar Song Contest. Now, as someone I've never been massive on Eurovision. I used to go to Eurovision like watch parties. Like my mum would do it occasionally, but then in the last sort of 10, 15 years, she's not really done it. There was an ex-girlfriend of mine that had an aunt and uncle that loved Eurovision, like would staunchly have Eurovision parties every year. So I imagine they enjoyed it, but I wouldn't know, and I'm not really fussed. I really liked this the first time round. I've not like come down on it, but it's just like when Will's pointing stuff out, I'm like, yeah, but I'm not really there. I'm not really seeing that, like in terms of mainly the character, stuff that he is right about. I do see it, but I can also see where when we get to it, it kind of feels a bit different. But what did you overall, as someone who loves Eurovision, did you like this episode? And how good was Dugadoo?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Dugadoo is the current meme in our flat. Phil has been singing it all day. He just did it in the background. I don't know if you heard that. He's in the bedroom, so he must have just heard me say it. Yes, we love Dugadoo. That was honestly, I think, the funniest moment of the entire episode was when Belinda's having a full-on like panic attack, mental breakdown on Cora, and just in the background you can just hear Dugadoo. It was very funny. I love the fact that they've confirmed that Juno Birch and Russell T Davies also did not write Dugadoo into this script. That was all Murray Gold.
Yeah, and it seems like all of his hate went into I'm just going to make the most annoying, catchy earworm of a song.
Yeah. It is annoyingly catchy, and Dugadoo is quite adorable. So I wonder how long it is until they make Dugadoo plushies.
Are we going to get a Dugadoo release before the Series 10 soundtrack?
I've given up any hope of the Series 10 soundtrack ever been released at this point. It's been almost 10 years.
But then, surely it's coming. Surely. He releases the Series 10 soundtrack and it's just Dugadoo on a loop. The ultimate troll. I liked Russell's thing in Unleashed of like sometimes it's just the weirdest fucking lyrics. So like it was the fucking my big feet.
That again was also a bit like jarring because they built it up as if Cora was like the contestant to beat. It was specifically her song that Kid was going to unleash the Delta Wave on, and that was the song? I was like, the fuck?
And that was the favourite. That was Tip to Win.
Give it to Dugadoo. I'm sorry, Dugadoo was better than that.
But then the Helvelian song, or however you say it, was
Hellions.
Hellion song. That one, yeah, that was really good.
That was
I
very
like that.
good.
And the whole thing of like sometimes singing something in a different language, you still, as long as it like correlates, you can still feel the same emotions,
Oh
even
yeah,
if you don't understand what they're saying.
one of my favourite songs ever from Eurovision was Norway's entry last year, which was fully sang in Norwegian. Which I don't speak, I don't understand Norwegian, but for some reason it just spoke to me. That it didn't deserve last place either. Like, that was a great song. But yeah, I think that's a very good point. I that was a very nice moment when everyone. It was a little bit cheesy and predictable, but it was very nice when everyone just sort of like stood up and clapped for her singing that song. That was very nice. I think I liked all the characters in. Actually, I liked all but one of the characters in this. I can't
Who's
even
the one
remember her
character you
name.
didn't like?
The Hellion girl who was like part of the broadcast company who was obviously like sabotaging them. I just don't feel like she got fleshed out enough.
Yeah.
I feel like they gave Kid all of the emotional beats for that plot line, and then she was just kind of there.
Yeah, she kind of just was like, oh, I've kissed him, and yeah, bloody the corporation, and it's like, oh, okay, she's just here for
Yeah,
the.
like Kid and Cora kind of got all the emotional beats for the Hellion storyline, and the other girl whose name I can't even remember just kind of got shafted. Also, before it leaves my mind, just putting it out there, I completely called that Cora was going to be a Hellion way earlier than they announced it. I don't know why I thought that was super obvious, but yeah, I called that really quickly.
I mean, yeah, it was a bit obvious, like when you think about it, because every time like they talked about it, like, well, you can't say like about civilization you don't understand. It's like, oh, she's defending these assholes a bit too much.
Yeah, I just kind of guessed from the hair. I mean, obviously I ended up being wrong about this bit, but I just assumed she'd grown her hair in a way to cover her horns, but also the other two characters in the story who kind of had this sort of mullet haircut were the other two Hellions. So I was just kind of like, okay, so she's going to be one of them then? And then I was right, whilst also not quite being correct, because she'd actually cut her horns off, or had them cut off.
She'd got rid of the horn.
Yeah, she's a bit prudish now. She's not very horny.
Yeah. Oh well, it comes to us all in the end. That's what good music does. Just takes away the horn.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Belinda. Like, she's like if Martha was kind of done slightly better, and I love Martha as a character. Like the fact that she in series 3 she walks away from it because this is shitty and I can't be part of this. She's very sort of that vibe of like, oh, this is an adult that's traveling with the Doctor.
Yeah, which I like that the companion this time round is an adult and not a teenage girl or a young impressionable girl, as have quite often been the companions. I think the only other sort of adult companion we've really had in the last maybe not 10 years, because I think Clara was older than Bill, but Graham, like Ryan and Yaz were both very young. Obviously, Ruben was very
and they
young.
seemed quite young as well, didn't they?
Yeah. It kind of feels like Belinda feels like kind of like what Martha would be if she wasn't pining after the Doctor and was a little bit sort of more. I don't know if feisty is the word, but was a bit more resilient to his charm, I guess. Because Martha was very much taken in by the Doctor's charm, like for most of the series. Whereas at least for the first bit, Belinda was like, "No, don't do this." I will say I do think she's kind of softened on him a bit too quickly for my liking, but I think part of that is kind of inevitable because of how short the season is.
Yeah, because I mean we don't have a lot of episodes with them, and you had Lucky Day where they're not really in it as well. So like you're already down to 7.
Yeah,
So
that is a massive criticism I have of this era. I'll just get it out while I'm here. The I understand it's because bigger budget per episode, and apparently this episode was the most expensive one they've made.
and that was just on Ryland's face.
But it if you're gonna have a season of 8 episodes, which doesn't really give us a lot of time with a character, especially if in this case, especially with the companions, because we've only had like one season with each of them. I don't think it's then fair to have multiple episodes in that season where said companion or the Doctor, for example, is just barely used. So, like, in season 1, Ruby wasn't used in a good third of Boom because she was dead. And then Dot and Bubble, we barely saw her or the Doctor. I know she kind of had her own standalone episode in 73 Yards, but the Doctor wasn't really in that, so we didn't get to see their dynamic. So there's 3 episodes in an 8-episode series where we don't really get any of the Doctor and Ruby's dynamic, and I think
But you
that
do
really
get the Christmas
hinders
special.
them. Oh yeah, okay. So if we class that, then 3 out of the 9-episode season.
Yeah.
But then it's even worse for Belinda because we've had the first 3 episodes were great, like good with establishing their bond and their relationship. Episode 4 was completely centered around Ruby. I think someone said Belinda was on screen in Lucky Day for all of like 70 something seconds. So we barely get Belinda in Lucky Day. Again, we don't really get her that much in Story in the Engine because that's quite primarily focused on the Doctor for like the first 2/3 of it, I'd say. She only really comes into it later. And then, yes, she's in this one a lot more, but that's still 2 out of currently 6 episodes where we just don't really get anything of the Doctor and Belinda's relationship. And I think that's a massive detriment to Belinda because she's such a good character. I want to be able to be around her more and get to learn more about her and see her with the Doctor more. But these episodes where she's just not featuring that much, I don't know, it kind of hinders her. Don't get me wrong, I loved Lucky Day, my second favourite episode of the season so far. I thought it was amazing, and I think it did wonders for Ruby's character, but it kind of came at the detriment of fleshing Belinda out more. But that's my 2 cents anyway.
No, yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying with that. I mean, like we got,
and I've just thought as well. I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that Ruby's going to be in the 2-part finale. So, in theory, we've only really gotten 4 episodes of just the Belinda and the Doctor, where there's nothing sort of keeping them apart or they're barely featured. That's 4 episodes of the Doctor with just that one companion establishing that dynamic, and I just don't think that's enough.
No, I get what you're saying with that. And it's just the casualty of the series. Like if we had 10 episodes, then we'd probably be feeling a lot differently. But then we had 10 episodes for 3 companions, and we never really got a solid grip on any of them, really, apart from sort of Yaz, and Graham was just funny, and Ryan was, I don't know, more useful in one season than he was in the next.
I will stand by that Ryan as a character was hindered totally by very heavily by the fact that I just don't think Tosin Cole was a good actor.
I think he was. Sometimes he was focusing too much on the accent rather than the performance.
Yeah.
I'd like to see if any of them would come back and what that would be like.
Yeah. But no, you are right. Like we had 20? We had roughly 30 episodes with Yaz, and I still feel more attached to Belinda and Ruby than I did her. But that's not nothing against Mandip Gill, because I actually really like her and I thought she was great as Yaz. I just don't think the material that her and Jodie got to work with was as good as the material we've had recently.
No, and obviously, COVID come into play with that last year or so. So that was a bit, it's a bit shitty. But
it's same with Dan as well. Like, we barely really got to know him.
But then I think in the time we got to know him, I felt he was more like a companion of old. Like you established his home life and what he was like.
Yeah.
It was just the unfortunate thing of like this is just one big story, so he's experiencing it sort of like all at once. And then obviously you have either the Daleks, which is I maintain the Dalek Chibnall episodes are quite good, and I do
They
love all
are.
three of them.
Yep, I agree.
And then you have like one of the worst episodes of Modern Doctor Who, if not, you could argue Who in general, in just the sloppiness of Legend of the Sea Devils.
Oh, yeah.
And then because
not a great episode.
And because he's on tour, then he had to be written out of Power of the Doctor. So
Oh, is that why? I didn't know that.
yeah, apparently it coincided. A lot of it coincided with his tour, and it would have been a thing of, doing the tour in the evening, coming back and film, like literally back and forth between like coming back to Cardiff, then like being all over the country as well. And I think just logistically wise, he went. It's as much as I want to be in it, it's going to cause you more hassle. So just do it without me, kind of thing.
Aw. Which does suck, because I did like Dan as a character, and I do agree. I think I connected more with him than with Ryan and Graham. It's just, yeah, we barely got any time with him, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you lose 4 episodes immediately. You gain some of it back in the specials, but even then, he doesn't get to leave well, because it's just like he gets shot at, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I got to go because I'm doing a gig at Liverpool in half an hour. Bye." And it's a real shame because I love John Bishop and I think he was great in it. And he was good for the show. But I love Belinda. Like there's been such a nice vibe. Like it's not that I didn't like Ruby. I just think her whole character arc finishing in the way it did at the end of last season it was so strange.
I think I would agree. I really like Ruby as a character. I really like Millie as an actor. I think the resolution of her arc in season 1 put almost a bit of a sour taste on the character, which isn't her fault. But it's like,
I agree with you, yeah.
She appears on screen, and all I can think about is, wow, you were named after a road, and that was literally the whole plot of Sutek's demise. Like, the fuck, yeah.
Yeah, and then again, like you said, it's you lose however many episodes where they're not together. I know she obviously, she does her whole episode in 73 yards. You lose her in Dot and Bubble. You lose her for most of Boom, and especially Boom as well. I feel like I know we've talked about reordering this, but that felt so early on. Like that's when a lot of the establishing takes place. Like they meet normally 9 times out of 10. The Doctor meets a companion in modern day. Then episode 2, they go either to the past or the future, and then the third episode's the other, like whatever one they didn't do last week, they do this week, and you get to give them the whole thing of like this is essentially those first 3 episodes of the companion going, this is the show, like how do I fit into it, kind of thing. And in one of them, like she's dead for most of the future stuff, so like we don't get any of those sort of like little nuanced moments, even though the episode is really good. And it's you just lose a lot of time with them. Whether that would change if I don't know, would the BBC then go, well, sod it, we're not getting Disney's money. Do we kind of just backscale it a bit like we used to and do 10 episodes? Because we can, as long as they can have 10 well-written episodes, you can have your Midnight or your Boomtown, your cheap one, like here and there.
I honestly, I would rather them. And I don't know if other people would agree. I would rather them cut the deal with Disney, cut the budget, but give us more episodes.
Yeah, like at least 2 more. Like just to get, because then you get like 10 episodes and your special. You've nearly got what they used to do every year, like 15, 20 years ago. I just want to. Do you know what it is as well? Like, it's not even I want more Doctor Who because I love Doctor Who. It's just that I just want more. Like you said, I want more time with these people. I want more of Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor.
I want the stories that they're trying to tell to have more breathing room, because they just don't. It feels so rushed because of how limited a run the series is at the moment.
I don't know. It's something that hopefully can be, talked about if and when they announce the continuation part of it. I fully assume that War Between the Land and the Sea will get pushed to next year, so that you've kind of
I
still
think
got
that's
a
already
Doctor.
been confirmed.
Yeah, you've still got a Doctor Who thing in 2026 if it's then coming back in 2027, so you don't lose momentum, which I think is a good decision. Purely for the fact of we had so many times with Jodie, it's like, all right, we've got momentum. What's happening now? Oh, we're gonna have a year off. So then you lose all that traction and hard work you get there.
Yeah.
But no one, and I think that's a lot of the reason as well why people had a bit more to say about her time as the Doctor. The writing for one, and the fact that every time it got going, like Series 11 had a crap finale. But then you'd want to be like, all right, let's see where she goes next series, and then you had to wait like a year and a half for that to come back.
Yeah, but literally, like Series 11 finished, then like maybe a month later we had the New Year's Day special, and then we had to wait an entire year to see the continuation of that. And we didn't even get a special that year because the first episode was the New Year's Day special, which did feel a little bit like a bit of a cop out. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then after Series 12, we had to wait almost a year for Revolution of the Daleks, and then
it was October or something.
And then it was like, and then almost another full year to get to Series 13.
And then you get the New Year's Day special, and then you wait until like back end of the year for like the last couple as well. It was just oddness, but at least this has been sort of semi-consistent in the, we've had 2 Christmas specials either side of like season 1. You had the 3 specials before it. You've got this. I mean, if they could sneak in a Christmas special this year just to sort of bridge the gap a little bit, to be like, oh shoot, he's still the Doctor. We're still just gonna push this down the road. Like there's still more to come. Don't worry, because I feel like going from this to no Christmas special, War Between the Land and the Sea, and then a series in 2027 it might just hold on to the momentum. It might also be a bit of a struggle because the Doctor's probably not in the spin-off.
I'm kind of hoping it'll be like Class, where he or they, she, whoever the Doctor is, when we get to War Between the Land and the Sea.
Just Peter Capaldi comes back and he's still doing the lines from Class. What the fuck? What the fuck? I did this like 7 years ago. What the fuck's going on? That was a terrible
you mentioned earlier about like the formula of Doctor Who. Like it's always meet the companion in modern day, then they do past or future, and then the other one that they haven't done is episode 3. I have noticed both the most recent seasons, so last year's and this year's, have followed almost exactly the same pattern. Bear with me.
Go for it. I love it.
But this is such a weird thing that I've noticed. So, episode 1, we're not counting Church on Ruby Sunday because that was a Christmas special, but
the Church on Ruby Sunday. She's just
Church on Ruby Road. That
no, I like that one more. It's like Wizard of Oz, like the building just fallen on that.
And the Wicked Witch did have ruby slippers.
Yes, true.
Episode 1 is the silly, camp, futuristic, like sci-fi farce almost. That's kind of the worst episode of the season. Although Robot Revolution was definitely better than Space Babies, I still think it was the weakest episode of the series so far.
Yeah, but still, for me, I've said to you guys, like I've enjoyed all of these episodes so far.
Yeah, I've enjoyed all of them as well. Yeah, I've not disliked a single episode this season so far. But yeah, so episode 1, silly sci-fi focused romp that is the weakest episode of the season, at least so far. Episode 2, historical, fantastical episode focused on the Pantheon, featuring a fabulous camp villain.
Yep.
Episode 3, tense sci-fi thriller set mostly in one location, which the companion gets shot.
Yes.
Episode 4 focuses primarily, almost entirely on Ruby Sunday and features a pub as a major location.
Oh,
Sorry,
wicked, I love
let
this.
me add to that as well. Episode 4 focuses primarily on Ruby Sunday, or entirely on Ruby Sunday, in modern day, where one of the major set pieces is a pub.
Yep.
Episode 5. What was episode? Episode 5. Episode that revolves primarily around the Doctor being black.
Yep.
And episode 6. This is probably the loosest one so far. This has been like the only episode so far that hasn't quite followed the same trend. But episode 6 is kind of fun camp time, written by female guest writer.
What was episode 6 last year? Rogue.
Rogue.
That's true. Yeah, so maybe Doctor flirting with other men.
Actually, yeah, Doctor flirting with other men as well. Yeah, there you go. Because he was flirting with the couple.
Yeah. Mike and Gary.
Which, you know, as a poly person myself, go for it, lads. You can both be with the Doctor. Why not? Have
You're
fun.
doing it, mate.
You're doing it, mate. Yeah.
What did you think of the inclusion of the real world entities of Eurovision in Mr. Ryland Clark and Sir Graham of Norton?
I loved it. As a Eurovision fan, I just thought it was fun. And actually, I think Ryland did. I know he was just playing himself, but I thought he did a pretty decent job.
Really good, yeah. Like, sums up my career, babes.
That was very funny. I feel a little bit sad for Scott Mills because him and Ryland both host the semi-finals. So the fact that Ryland and Graham Norton were asked to do it, but not Scott Mills, I feel a bit sad for him.
But then there would have been
maybe they did ask him and he just said no. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but then there would have been too much flirting going on.
Speaking of flirting as well, I want to climb Kid like a tree, but that's primarily just because I find Freddie Fox very attractive.
What else has he been in?
He was in Cucumber and the trilogy that Russell T Davies wrote that was kind of a sequel to Queer as Folk. He was in that. He's been in quite a lot. I think he's been in, I want to say he was in, what's the Game of Thrones spin-off?
House of the Dragon?
I believe he's in that.
Lovely.
He's Amelia Fox's brother, and Amelia Fox is known for stuff like Merlin, Silent Witness. I think Silent Witness is the main one that people know her for. But yeah, he was in that trilogy, that queer trilogy that RTD wrote, and me and my friend Lizzie were so into him that we then went to go and see a production of Romeo and Juliet just because he was playing Romeo in it.
Oh, wow. I mean, so pretty good then. So you were happy that he was the bad guy.
Yeah, that was very fun.
Did you like that? This also felt very, I know Russell didn't write this one, but it's very sort of rip-offy, this whole thing has been, in terms of RTD2 seems to be all about recycling. This was very game station-y, even down to the fact that the enemy had a delta wave.
Yes. I caught that as well. I don't know if Phil did, but I caught that when he said it's a delta wave. I was like, oh, isn't that what Nine used on the Daleks? I was going to use anyway.
Yeah. Coward. Any day.
You can tell that Juno Birch is a big Doctor Who fan.
Yeah, like it was. I mean, I hope that she's back next season. I really do. I mean, if we do get one, he's found some good writers doing these last couple of seasons. Like, I would like him to just do the first episode and the finale, and then other than that, let these wonderful people that you're finding do all the episodes.
And Moffat, please let Moffat do another episode.
Yeah, wonderful people. They found this, young up and comer Stephen Moffat, who's never done any Doctor Who.
No, not at all. He's definitely not written the most episodes out of anyone, all getting on in age. But you know what? He can fish out his old teats and he can write another script.
Yeah, he can teat it with the best of us, really.
Yeah, exactly. What were the other thoughts I had on the episode before I get too sidetracked? Oh!
Juno Dawson's 43.
She's not.
10th of July, 1981.
Fucking hell. 44. She looks great.
Yeah.
I say that,
can't believe
Kylie's
that.
nearly 60 and she looks incredible.
Yeah, but Kylie killed loads of other Australians so that she could
Steal their
longer.
life force.
Yeah. She's actually 407.
That wasn't Astrid in Voyage of the Damned. That was just Kylie.
That was Kylie, who had recently sacrificed Danny.
Maybe we shouldn't feel bad that Astrid fell down the nuclear reactor.
Yeah, maybe we
It
should.
saved the rest of Australia from her wrath.
Yeah, it has. I mean, those bushfires. Maybe she caused them. Maybe that's her fighting. What member of the Pantheon would she be? She'd be like, crappy soap acting / just being sexually attracted to Jason Donovan. And then Jason Donovan has to put on his Joseph coat to deflect her evil rays. Like, sort of do like Wolverine from X-Men 3 and just like slowly make his way towards her and throw them both down a reactor. Like to sacrifice himself. Oh, Juno Dawson wrote Redacted.
Oh, yes, she did, didn't she?
Also contributed to audio plays for Big Finish, Torchwood Range. Dawson is intended to write an episode for the second series of Class, but the show was cancelled. Bastards!
I hate that Class was cancelled. They left that on such a cliffhanger.
I'm not. I don't know. Class is arse, really. But
I enjoyed it. It was silly fun.
It had a crap theme tune, and
I liked it.
the fact that the bloody Big Finish audios could only exist in and around series 1 was stupid. Like, all these adventures have to happen before the finale.
I want to know what the Weeping Angels were doing.
Fishing for those old teats. It was actually just Helen Mirren painted silver, and she had like fake breasts in her hands. And then she had Patrick Ness by the throat.
The last thing you hear before you die is just fish out those old teats. Did I send you that clip, by the way? I can't remember if I did.
Yeah, you did. It was, it's fucking amazing. And it's because me and Connor always joke about it's the remake of Doctor in Distress, but it's just they're singing it to try and get Patrick Ness back without having to pay ransom. Doctor in Distress, please give back our Patrick Ness. There you go. We can work the old teats into that song and make it a full-on single.
Yeah, why not?
The controversial "There's Ice in My Heart, Darling" that you've put there, and it's not gone because now I'm really angry thing. What side of thine fence does thou fall?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I found the line a bit cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't the biggest fan of the line. As for the Doctor's behaviour, I can kind of see both sides, because I think that was the other thing I was going to say as well. Episode 6, the episode where the Doctor thinks his companion might be dead. Because that happened with Ruby as well.
Because they get separated.
Yeah.
And people are dressed up in a really extravagant way.
Yeah. See? I'm onto something.
Which means that
next episode will be amazing and the finale will be shit.
Yeah, so that means that I mean Sutek was killed by walkies, so how do we kill that character that we've not spoken about yet?
Well, have you seen that Russell has essentially given away that we are getting another big villain reveal?
Yes. Well, it originally teased many villain reveals, but then with the Unholy Trinity thing, there's definitely another member to be.
Yeah, because everyone thought it was Conrad and the two Ranis, but he's been like, no, the Ranis. Sorry, shit.
Said the name. You might as well talk about how you felt about that bit, because I think the second reveal is bigger than the Ranis.
Yeah, I would agree. Because I think everyone kind of expected her to end up being the Rani.
Well, Russell even said like everyone's been guessing that she's the Rani, so sometimes it's just bang on, or sometimes you give them what they want, kind of thing, which is a weird thing to have. It's why I have some problems with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because the writer on the behind the scenes thing said, well, people have been saying that John Krasinski should be Mr. Fantastic, so we thought we'd just give them what they want because we're not going to follow it up.
I don't know. I'm glad we finally got the Rani back. I think it's been long overdue. Also, it means that everyone can stop guessing that every single mysterious woman in Doctor Who is the Rani.
But then now they'll go back to it'll be Missy, because that's I think as well that the Rani works doesn't work as much now because we've had Missy, so we've had different genders of Time Lords. So surely, are you going to have a male Rani? I don't, you know what I'm thinking, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because now it doesn't matter that because if they just stayed to a specific gender, it'd be like, the Rani's dangerous because it's like the Master but a woman, and she's really good at science. And for some reason, no one thinks she's ever been Kemp, even though have we watched Time in the Rani? Because
yes, I've seen Time in the Rani.
That is. I know, but I mean, of the general audience not seeing it, because that's Sylvester McCoy having concussion and thinking that Mel and the Rani look the same, or at least similar. And that is stupid campy, that whole bloody serial.
I was going to say, yeah, that is one thing I will say. I'm happy that the Rani is back because she is a camp icon, but I don't think either of her stories are particularly great.
To be fair, camp icon in the campest episode. It works. Yeah, I like it more now. The bi-generation though, so that's still a thing for now. Is it? I mean, are we going to find out what's causing that? I mean, maybe a wish world, because there's been the whole thing of dreams being made into reality kind of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's because of the thing at the end of the universe, and then bi-generation happened with the Doctors, and then it's weird that she became really subservient, and then instead of she became a Rani, and I'm the Rani.
I guess the idea of that is kind of like how 14 was a Doctor, but 15 was now the Doctor. I feel like that's kind of the thought process there.
But then that only really works when you know that this is a TV show, and for the audience, this is now the current version.
Yeah, which is fair. That's a fair criticism.
Whereas story-wise in universe, it'd be like, but then they're both still the same, right? Because even though they've split off, but then I've had this thing, and I've seen it for a long time, to get over the whole bloody bi-generation thing, because it was going to lead to many things, and it's why the Tales from the TARDIS segments exist, is that you can have those nice little reunions with those characters. To overcome that and sort of bring it back, because the whole thing I think has been for a while of then what happens when Shooty wants to regenerate, when he leaves, does he split in half?
I really hope they don't split him off. I want bi-generation, because they made it clear that it was meant to be a really rare occurrence. So I feel like, okay, we've seen it happen twice now.
But also they all happened. When the bi-generation happened, it meant that every regeneration then split. That's what Russell said.
Of course, yeah.
So then, do they sync back up? Because there's been a lot of people saying 14 still exists on Earth. Is he going to then join back up with Shooty so that then he can regenerate properly into the next Doctor, Joe Martin?
Hopefully. Or does that mean that? Where does that put the Master? Does that mean that Sacha Dhawan and Missy are? Oh, actually, no, because wasn't it established? Oh, no, I guess we never did establish where Missy fell in the Master's timeline, because we never saw her regenerate.
We never fully established, no, but then there's the whole thing. No, because she's after John Sim, we assume she's after John Sim, because, just enough for you to get back to your TARDIS and regenerate, and here's the dematerialization circuit. And then
but we don't know where Sacha Dhawan comes into it.
Yes. I mean, we're assuming that it's just much like 80s Doctor Who. Somehow the Master returned and just carries on living, kind of thing.
I know people are speculating the Master's going to appear in this because Missy or Michelle Gomez was at the premiere.
Oh. See, then, because it's the Unholy Trinity, you got Conrad and you got the Rani's count as one. Do you then have the Master and Missy as the other member.
So here is my theory. I might be wrong.
Theory time, theory time. Let's have theory time.
I realise we're jumping all over the place. I've still not discussed everything about this episode that I liked or wanted to discuss. But anyway, quickly. I'm trying to separate my theory from speculation and leaks and stuff. But given that there's supposedly another big classic villain set to return on Saturday.
Yes.
Are you aware of this?
I'm not, but you can say it here because by the time it comes out, like the episode will be happening.
Oh yeah,
And I can always delete it.
Oh, true. I don't want to potentially spoil it for you if you want to go in blind and this turns out to be true.
It's all right. I'll just blind myself now with this bleach. Ah.
So apparently, Omega is the other part of the trilogy.
Oh, that's such a fucking obvious thing, no?
But
is Russell just giving everyone what? Oh, because they always speculate that it's either been Omega, the Rani coming back, the Master's always some man, or Davros. That was like the main thing. It would cycle through those guys until one of them's come back. Because remember when Ben Kingsley was meant to be Davros in series 3 or something?
Yeah. So my theory is this unholy trinity thing isn't going to be the Rani, Conrad, and Omega. I think it's going to be Rani, Omega, then something happens to Conrad, and it's the Master, and it's like the holy trinity of the Time Lords, or unholy trinity of like Time Lords.
And then sort of a bit Cartmel master planny, like the 3 founders of Time Lord Society thing.
Yeah, kind of. We get like the 3 big evil Time Lords from Classic Who all back in one episode.
Apart from Rassilon.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Omega takes his helmet off and it's Timothy Dalton.
Oh.
And then the episode instantly becomes more sexier. Just from the voice.
Yes, that is true. He does have a great voice.
One
thing... Oh, before I forget... Sorry, go on.
No, I was just thinking about Timothy Dalton. Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, like, I'm really glad Conrad is coming back, even though it was obvious that he was.
You think? I mean, apart from he got let out of prison, it was like, maybe we'll see him next time.
No, I had a feeling we were going to see him again. I thought they'd set him up for part of the finale.
Especially but then, what about weird cummy robot man? Why didn't he get a reprieve?
Because he wasn't that interesting as a character.
I'd argue that Conrad wasn't really. He was just an arsehole.
I don't know. I figured he was going to come back.
Oh, because he's going to be the one to torment Ruby or something.
That, and also the episode's called Wish World, so I'm wondering if Conrad's like essentially wished the Doctor out of existence or something.
And then they have to rebuild him, and it's like the arms of Jodie Whittaker, the legs of Peter Capaldi, the toes of Patrick Troughton,
the kidneys of Peter Capaldi.
Okay, true.
The
crotch of Colin Baker, and that should be a pub. The chest of Peter Davison, the face of Paul McGann because he's the best looking.
Oh, he's so Paul McGann and Ncuti Gatwa are the hottest Doctors.
All right, if you had to do like a top 5 of hottest Doctors, I'd say Paul McGann top. I'd say. Now, here's the argument. Are we counting both David Tennants as 1? Because he's definitely aged, and I think 14 is better looking than 10.
I would class them as 1. Just because it's the same actor.
All right, we'll say David Tennant, but specifically 14th Doctor under Paul McGann. Hey. Then Ncuti. I got because he's my favourite Doctor and serious man crush, Matt Smith.
Okay.
And I don't want to do a disservice that it's all the new Who ones. And I'm not saying Christopher Eccleston isn't attractive, nor Jodie Whittaker. But for pure sass, and I think he's just a freak, Colin Baker.
I'm shocked that as the straight man of the two of us, you didn't go for Jodie.
Well, just because I've never the Doctor's, it's easy to have a man crush. Then it's weird to then kind of sexualize
Oh,
Doctor Who.
fair. I
For
get
me, it's a
that.
bit like, whoa, I don't actually like. I don't fancy Jodie Whittaker. Like, she's a very. If you're listening, Jodie, you're not ugly. Very nice woman. I just don't want to get too sexually attracted to a Doctor.
I mean, that was too late for me because 10 was definitely part of my awakening. I don't.
Did
I
David
don't.
Tennant break into your house and awaken you? Shh, I'm so sorry.
I don't know what order I'd put them in, but my top 5 would definitely be Paul McGann, Ncuti Gatwa, David Tennant, Matt Smith, and then probably Peter Davison.
Yeah, I think he's just too boring. Like, I wouldn't get much conversation out of him.
He's a very good-looking guy, though.
Yeah, but I couldn't. There's only so long I can talk about Castrovalva without falling asleep.
Although I will
Is
say,
it shocking how quickly I did my order as well? Is that a bit too quick?
I will say, Colin has been more openly willing for the show to change with having a female doctor and stuff like that. So
And Peter Davison was hounded off Twitter for saying that boys had lost a role model. So
yeah. So you know what? Never mind Peter Davison. Yeah, we'll go.
We'll go for that slutty freak Colin Baker.
Yeah, why not?
I honestly, I bet something went on with the Rani. Like she dominated him or something.
Oh, she absolutely.
That's why he's so uptight.
Absolutely pegged him.
Yes, and that's why he's so uptight and why he walks funny and why he wears that coat so it covers the stains. Something to ponder, I guess. And Sylvester McCoy is the honourable mention because he played the spoons on those old teats. But the other stuff for the episode, Andy, we've strayed to the spoil because I feel like we need to kind of get that one because the other one's much better.
Yeah.
But also, why has Mrs. Flood got the power to break the fourth wall and change outfits that are kind of the same outfits worn by companions or important people in the story?
Yeah, I really hope that gets explained. I'm worried that it's not going to be because it's RTD and he's been very much like, this happened, deal with it. I really hope it gets explained, but I'm saying that with bated breath because I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly that.
I did enjoy the Rani reveal though, even though I knew it's been speculated for ages that she was going to be the Rani. I was happy to finally hear her saying it.
Yeah, what's her name? Archie? Is it Archie
Archie? Oh, I can't remember the last name.
Is it Archie Punjabi?
Yes, I think it is Archie Punjabi.
Yeah, Archie Punjabi.
Yes.
She seems very Rani-ish.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's older than Juno Dawson. She's 52. What the fuck's going on?
But yeah, I feel like she's going to be a really good Rani.
Oh my goodness. Oh, she was in Bend It Like Beckham.
Huh.
Of course she was. We're going to keep on the camp train. We might as well talk about Bend It Like Beckham.
I don't think I've ever actually seen it.
You know, it's great. Oh yeah, so she's the older sister that's getting married of the main character, Jess.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay then. Let's stop skirting around it. What did you think to the Susan thing?
I cried. I cried more at the interview on Unleashed because I was like, "Oh my god, it's actually Carol Ann Ford," and she's talking about how much she loves Doctor Who. And
yeah, because she had a really tumultuous relationship with the show for a while, didn't she?
Did she? I mean, I've never sort of really I've watched various behind the scenes things.
I'm sure she's been quoted before as saying that she doesn't regret doing Doctor Who, but after she did Doctor Who, she found it really hard to find any more work because everyone just always saw her as Susan from Doctor Who.
And that's leaving as early as she did. She only did a couple of years.
Yeah.
But you think of it now, that's like Billie Piper territory, really.
Who is currently being rumoured to be the next Doctor.
I mean, she is Mother. I mean, talk about sexual awakening. Billie Piper is mine.
Because we want to.
Yeah. Even though she fucked Ginger Chris Evans, we can forgive her. And Lawrence Fox. She's not had a great history, really.
No, she's not had a great history with the men she's dated, but she seems like a great woman.
Hang on. Billie Piper Shags. Lawrence Fox is the top is the top fucking result. Viral remarks on GB. Oh god, he's everywhere. Significant others: Lawrence Fox, Chris Evans, David Tennant. I know she's seen his penis.
Has she?
Well, that was apparently the joke that went round on series 2 was she used to call him David Tennant.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
So I mean, only Georgia Tennant can really, confirm or deny, really, can't she?
Yes.
But, yeah. So I know that in terms of her seasons, like, was it Hartnell had like 2 weeks off in like 3 years or something?
Think so. Yeah.
Like it was relentless. It was literally like 52 weeks a year, near enough. It was on, and it's like that's a lot more. So I guess especially in the 60s when there's no sort of you can easily go into something else because not a lot of TV was getting made. It probably did completely sort of stifle Carol Ann Ford's career for a long time because has she done anything really prominent since?
Not to my knowledge.
And it was weird because I saw Dom's TikTok on it and he was talking about like, the last time she was in it was Dimensions in Time. But then the last time actually in canon was Five Doctors. And then the last time in a main run, like as in a regular story, was Dalek Invasion of Earth. So it's been a long time, especially because, and I know people have been like, why is it Susan kind of thing? Because Susan's also one of those that, Susan's coming back has been mentioned, I think, countlessly over the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
But it's weird because when you've had so many returns of Time Lords, like, you've had the Master come back in various forms and regenerate. You've now had the Rani come back. I'm surprised they've not done the Monk, to be fair. But like you've had the Time War and stuff like that. Like even with Day of the Doctor, she wasn't really even mentioned, was she?
No, not really.
And Irish Doctor's reboot.
I think RTD was definitely building up to her coming back because Shooty has mentioned Susan quite a few times.
But then it's weird because then it's like he wanted the Rani back, and then Russell gave him the Rani. He wanted Susan back, but then I like sort of how that sort of played into his era because like the whole thing of he mentioned Susan, apart from the weird thing of like, maybe I've not had my granddaughter yet because that's how time works. No, it's not because you've still, as a biological age, you've gone, past that point where you had a family and you just go off and sometimes get younger, sometimes get older. Like you don't suddenly go back.
So not having had kids, yeah.
Like Shooty Gatwa doesn't suddenly become her grandfather, even though that was what we talked about last time, wasn't it? The rumor that I heard that Belinda and Shooty were going to be the parents of Susan's parents,
yes,
kind of thing, which would have been fucking strange if that had come off. But it still could, and I'm glad also that it didn't turn out to be the Rani bi-generating into Belinda, and that Belinda is just a normal person caught up in all of it, and not a mysterious girl that we've got to solve a problem with. Ugh.
That is my main hope for the end of this series. Just let Belinda be normal. She hasn't had this big mystery around her character of like, oh, who is she? Why is this why is she her being left on her doorstep such a big mystery? Ooh, why won't Sutek want her dead? Like that didn't pay off well. I just hope RTD completely avoids it this time.
Yeah, I mean we can only hope. But then I like that it was used he was getting frozen in space, and like that was the shock that then sort of woke him up, like him having a sort of not like a premonition, but like almost like a sort of near-death experience. You'd kind of see the ones you love, but when you deal so much with time and space, there's a possibility that those things you see or hear could be true or just echoes back through time or forward through time, kind of thing.
I reckon we're going to see her in the finale, though.
I'm not bothered if we see her or not. Like, it would be nice if Shooty stays for the season 3 that is sort of maybe not happening or is happening. Like, I'd like if that sort of would be his sort of grand finale, is almost like how in series 8 it was like, oh, you gotta find Gallifrey again. Like, is that what we're supposed to do now? Go looking for Gallifrey kind of thing after the anniversary thing. Like, he maybe sort of is subconsciously like, need to find Susan, and then like reunites, or like the villain of his finale, probably the Master or maybe the Rani at this point, is manipulating Susan, a la Sutek, but actually has her, and then reunites with her just in time to regenerate, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Susan regenerate ever?
I don't know. I kind of hope not, to be honest, because that, Susan is Carol Ann Ford.
But he's also a Time Lord, and I'm surprised that they've never done younger versions of her
True.
in Big Finish, because like you've had, like we say, the monks had a couple of different Big Finish incarnations. The Masters had a few audio only versions. I'm surprised they've not had, especially like younger Susan, like less so like, oh, Carol Ann Ford's big finales in Big Finish, and we've cast, Sally Lindsay as Susan or something.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they would ever be brave enough to do that, because, like you say, like she is the character, and the fact that she's the last surviving main cast member of the original run of the show since poor old Willie Russell's passing. I was going to say demise, but that's horrible. But yeah, it was lovely to see it, especially because it was just like. And also, did you notice that earrings were made to look like Hartnell's ring?
No, I didn't. Oh, that's cute.
Like the blue jeweled thing that he has, especially in that main promotional image where he's got the lantern and he's trying to open the TARDIS door.
Oh, okay.
It's like
Speaking of subtle things, did you notice the subtle little hidden detail in the symbol for the song contest?
No.
So on the symbol for the Harmony Arena, the sort of icon for it was the frequency sound wave of the giggle.
I did not notice that. So the Pantheon are still sort of playing with God.
Oh, absolutely,
literally.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ponder. Yeah, I mean, I've been looking, and not a lot post Doctor Who for Carol Ann Ford. I mean, she was like in an episode of Planemakers, Public Eye, a television film with Dial M for Murder, What Happened to the Likely Lads, and then Adventure in Space and Time. She had the role of Joyce, while obviously Claudia What's Her Face played her in that biopic, and then Five Doctors reboot, she appears in it. And film-wise, Centrinians, Great Train Robbery, The Man Outside, Hiding Place, Incredible Sarah, Shakedown, Return of the Sontarans in 1994.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And Soul's Ark in 99. But yeah, nothing really. Nothing this century that's not Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Great shame. But it's lovely to have her back. If she plays into the finale, great. If she doesn't, I'm not going to hold it against it, because hopefully we've got at least a series left of this Doctor's era. If not, when the RTD2 era comes to an end, I'm sure Susan will, maybe be like frequently used and be the big sort of surprise at the end of that.
Yeah. I am a little bit worried that RTD's setting a bit too much up for this 2-part finale. I don't want him to overstuff it and then not pay any of it off again.
Oh yeah, he's quite good at that. But what do you make of the sort of the rumor that there is a past Doctor possibly coming back to help?
Oh, is that a thing? I haven't seen that one.
Oh dear. I believe Mr. Wilson said about it.
Oh, okay. Well, why? What's the speculation?
Let me try and find my message to him.
While you're doing that, I just want to take a moment to praise the way this episode looked.
Yes, you do that.
I know I've said I can do with a smaller budget as long as I get more episodes, but I will say this episode looked gorgeous. Like, so much of it looked amazing. Ooh, you're like buzzing.
Yeah, am I?
One shot in particular that stood out to me, and I will say this is possibly one of the darkest things I think we've ever seen in Doctor Who, which I did not expect in the Eurovision episode. But that shot of everyone's sort of lifeless bodies floating out of the arena into space was gnarly as fuck.
Yeah,
That
that did
was-
look great. Like when they just get sucked up through the middle and they're all like just hanging there, almost as if like a reverse of the Daleks and Cybermen getting sucked into Canary Wharf.
Yeah, it was like that slow-mo shot of all the bodies just kind of rising out of the arena from far away. Like, that was such a cool shot.
Yes, it did look amazing this episode.
That sequence of the Doctor sort of getting sucked out of the arena into space, that all looks really seamless and really well done. I know we kind of touched on it at the start anyway, but I did quite like the silly camp fun of him using the confetti cannon to fire himself back.
Even when he pointed it out, like Camp, yeah.
Yeah,
And I liked all the guest stars as well.
Because I think I said exactly that after he'd done it. Before he woke back up, I was like, well, that was camp, that was great. And then he said it himself, and I was like, yeah, that's what I said.
In the campest episode, in space. It
Yeah.
was great. Yeah, apart from like I can see the argument of the characterization of 15, but then it's a bit sort of like, because I was saying it, that it's a bit sort of like the same situation where 9 thinks Rose is dead, and then obviously then he knows the Daleks got to, so he's like, I've got to kill this thing. So it's especially when he's come just after the Time War. So that fits more, whereas Shooty's always been a bit, he's giggly, fun, and like he's a bit sort of doesn't take anything seriously. But then it's crept in more and more that he's slightly manipulative. Like there is a darker thing going on here, and maybe it's
I would argue
whole persona.
I would argue he's one of the most manipulative Doctors.
Especially seeing how this will play out with Belinda.
Because Capaldi was grumpy and darker as a whole, but I don't think he was ever really manipulative because he was never trying to trick anyone into anything. I mean, I guess he did sometimes trick Clara into stuff, but he always was honest about it afterwards. He never really tried to hide anything from her, and he never hid the fact that he was now this grumpy old man who had better things to do than to try and save everybody. Whereas Shooty gives off this impression of being like fun-loving and like, you know, this absolute dashing hero, but then he is quite manipulative.
Yeah. And yeah, sneaky and a bit Sylvester McCoy-ish.
I will say I agree that I can see where Will was coming from with his criticism of that. The one thing that I took issue with was the fact that Belinda commented that he wasn't being himself when she heard him speak over that intercom, but then it never really got mentioned by her again. Like, I think she briefly touched on it, but at no point was she like, you know, that scared me. That wasn't nice. That wasn't you.
She was a bit at the end. She was like, you were quite scary, but hey, like we're okay, kind of thing. Immediately forgave him, so he never had to face up to that.
Yeah, I feel like he should have had to answer for what he was doing there, because that was dark, especially when you consider like what, you know, Kit's motivation. And, you know, I thought Kid, despite what he was going to do, turned out to be quite a sympathetic character.
Yeah, quite tragic. Like
I don't know.
Standing up for it, and like a protester standing up for something, and then no one backing him up, kind of thing. So he has to go to an extreme measure, which makes him look like a villain, sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if the episode was written before or after the Israel-Palestine conflict really started kicking off, like it has over the last couple of years. But I will say it wasn't lost on me that this very much seems to be an allegory for that.
Yes, and the fact that it also come down to, you know, the corporation's involvement in the Eurovision Song Contest, basically.
Well, yeah, because the biggest sponsor of Eurovision right now is an Israeli company, which I think is why they've not been kicked out like Russia was. Because Russia was kicked out when they invaded Ukraine, but then Israel have not had to face any consequences for what they've done. And a lot of people are saying it's quite likely it's because an Israeli company is the biggest sponsor of the contest. So if, you know, they were to kick Israel out, suddenly that's their biggest sponsorship gone, which I still don't think is an excuse, because there will be other companies that I'm sure will be very happy to be your main sponsor.
Especially if you kick out them. But that's a conversation that we try and avoid on this podcast, where we try and keep away from the atrocities that are happening in real life and focus on the fake ones.
But
Yes, I do like the timing of it all. I think that's very Russell, sort of like, oh, we're going to put this one here. Like it's like
and
he said to Juno, I want this, and can you put it? I want it bang on that day. So just before the happy singing contest, you can have a, oh, there's actually shit going on in the show and in real life. So maybe you should look up into it and stick up for yourself, kind of thing.
yeah, so it wasn't lost on me that I'm pretty sure that's the allegory they were going for. Also, what do you think about the whole theory? And I get to say theory. I think it's kind of semi-confirmed now that somehow this is all going to tie back into Space Babies.
Yeah, because we saw one of the babies in Story in the Engine, and there's been like this whole, but maybe like it's the realities, bleeding kind of thing, a la like Series 4.
It was
Specifically,
Captain,
Shooty Gatwa Adventures.
it was Captain Poppy we saw in Story in the Engine, and that was also the name of the brand that was sponsoring them in this.
Yeah, Poppy Honey or whatever it was.
Yeah. And I think Anita Dobson confirmed that Space Babies is going to tie into it in like an interview at a convention or something recently.
I mean, she might have gone down the Russell route of I'm just going to fuck with everyone, or you might retroactively make Space Babies a more important and slightly better episode because it has an outcome.
I mean, more important, sure. Better, that's questionable.
Like sort of how post Endgame, a lot more people have at least a respect for Thor: The Dark World kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
but Thor: The Dark World was at least watchable. I thought Space Babies was pretty awful.
Yeah, like it's crap, but like
I also just hate the idea. Don't get me wrong, I love it when things tie in like that, and it would kind of show that Russell really has planned out this as like a full 2-season arc. But I'm going to be really annoyed if the most important episode of season 1 that ties into everything turns out to be the one where it was a bunch of babies in space and they saved the day by using farts to propel a ship.
And get rid of a snot monster.
Yeah.
But we won't know for a week or so, which is the good thing, because then we can be depressed in silence, and then we can voice our opinions on here.
Are you doing a recap of the series when it ends, by the way?
Well, I was, because we originally wanted to do like the season 1 one, and then it was like, oh, maybe we hold out because if Doctor Who gets cancelled, we can kind of do a RTD2/Shooty Gatwa one. But I do want to kind of do, especially if this is all going to tie in, and it kind of, I'd be interested to see if anything's left for a third season to pick up, or it's kind of like we tied it in a bow just in case it didn't come back, so we're going to kind of start a new thing when we come back next time, sort of thing.
I mean, if the rumours are true that Shooty is regenerating, I still feel like it could be worth doing a Shooty era like analysis.
Yes, I think it would depend on if there is or isn't a regeneration, which I hope there isn't yet. But so the thing, I found the message.
Okay.
So I will be quoting Mr. Michael Wilson, who no doubtedly will correct me in the comments if I say anything wrong, or he will just come to my house and beat me to death. Now that all rumors have turned out to be true so far, I'm frightened to say anything in case it's an actual big spoiler. And then goes on to say it because he is Mr. Spoiler Blue Balls, like he's such a good tease. even though if I don't use spoiler tags on Discord, I know that mentally he's making a note of it and he's going to kill me like one day. Rumor has it that a past Doctor will return to help in quotation marks Shooty regenerate, but it won't be Tennant because that's after I put the whole thing of 14 sacrificing himself to join back up with Shooty, regenerating to Joe Martin thing. I said Colin Baker for the lols, obviously, and might be unlucky for some, which is obviously referring to 13. And I would take a Jodie.
I'd love to see Jodie reappear.
I'd love, just in general, just like, because I feel like, especially as Doctor Who's gone on and social media has become more, prevalent. Like it's harder and harder to ignore, and like she must have at least caught wind, even if she doesn't use these platforms. Like really moany people that don't like women are just moaning about me being the Doctor, and it's quite disheartening because it must be. And like, imagine how she could piss off all of those with a single scene, and make all of us lot happy that she's back and she's getting a bit of a reprieve for the kind of semi-naff ending they gave her in that final year sort of thing.
She deserved way better. I loved 13.
I maintain that if the 60th had been a sort of a more traditional like special, I would have loved her to be one of the ones to come back.
Yeah.
But then, like, she was, it's the Tom Baker thing of like she'd only just left, so to bring her back would have been a bit. But the next, if they do like a Twice Upon a Time or like a Two Doctor style, it's not really a special. It's just we wanted to bring back a Doctor. Like, I'd love to see Jodie come back.
Yeah, so I want to see a different showrunner write for 13.
Yeah. Do you I mean, would you be interested to see what a Russell written 13th Doctor would look and sound like?
Absolutely, yeah.
While also, like, I love that he's also not ignored anything that Chibnall, because you can't really. I mean, you can and you can't. You can just differentiate the eras because it's like this is Doctor Who 2023 onwards weird thing on iPlayer, but
it does really. It feels like Russell is essentially trying to tie up the loose ends that Chibnall couldn't be bothered to do.
Yeah, or didn't have time to, or was kind of pushed out of the train before it made it to the station, kind of thing.
And like that line that Joe Martin said in "Story in the Engine" of it like being that's a different story that will hopefully have an ending soon or something like that.
Yeah,
heavily implies that we're going to see her again. Yeah.
I mean, I've maintained that Joe Martin should have been the Doctor after Jodie Whittaker because then it's a better version of why did this face come back kind of thing, or like who found me this face. It's like that, but better because it's this is a Doctor I've been way before in a completely different life cycle even.
I just think Joe Martin deserves her own season.
Well, like I've said before, like it's a person of color playing the Doctor. Like the first person of color playing the Doctor was essentially made to be a glorified version of the John Hurt Doctor, and the John Hurt Doctor only exists because Stephen was like, "Well, I never saw Paul McGann being the one to kill everyone in the Time War, and I mean, it would be more likely to be Chris, but then Chris is a byproduct of he's regenerated into from the Time War, so he's still like that warrior, but going on that healing journey with Rose kind of thing."
Well,
so I'm going to get my big monkey wrench and stick John Hurt in.
Apparently, Chris Eccleston was actually asked if he was going to come back for the 50th, and he said no.
Yeah, and I think because then he would have been treated like the outcast kind of thing, and also it doesn't. I know that continuity can and doesn't also have to matter, but it's like he's clearly just regenerated into the Eccleston Doctor by the time Rose rolls around.
Yeah.
Like, and that whole thing, and that does tie up nicely. And it would have, for me, it would have been nicer to see Paul McGann go on that journey from the dashing Edwardian hero to, he got so dark and low that he had to, bring about the end of both species and then free himself by taking on a new body. As no disrespect to John Hurt, amazing actor, fabulous Doctor, but just a glorified sort of cameo kind of thing. And then Joe Martin was kind of made into that. But I like that was then prominent enough in Jodie's era that we got her at least a few times. And the surprise thing from last episode for her to turn up and for it to imply that, maybe this version's, or at least this actor would be back, because it wouldn't necessarily be the exact same version.
Yeah, I would love to see Joe Martin come back as the Doctor. I know she is the Doctor, but I mean like
she's had some big Finish stuff, hasn't she? But we've never actually seen that Doctor, and it would have been nice for. I know, not to, be like, because people have problem with the Doctor being a woman. I don't know why, because I mean, if you can believe that Matt Smith can change into Peter Capaldi, it doesn't really matter. But I would have liked to have had a few female incarnations.
I was saying this. I can't remember who I was saying this to, but I was saying this very recently to someone else. Is that as much as I love Ncuti as the Doctor, it feels a little bit like because 13's era was so received so mixed. It feels like, and I don't think this is actually what the case was or what the thought process was, but it does feel a little bit like they went, okay, we've heard you. You didn't like a female Doctor. Here's a man again. it kind of, and I don't think that was the intention, but that is kind of the
That's
impression
how
it
it
gave.
seems, doesn't it?
And
Yeah.
I wish they'd have committed to no, the Doctor can also be a woman, and then had multiple female Doctors in a row.
Yeah, I would have liked, because I think I said it in the Whittaker era retrospective thing we all did, and I've said it just many times just in my life. I just shout it at people on the street. To have like different like age ranges and ethnicities and sexual orientations as well. Fuck it, of Doctors, like have it so that then the Doctor as a woman, you've sort of not gone through everything because there's much more to do and there's many people in the world that you could get to play the Doctor, but to have it so that the Doctor's kind of been on a journey, like as a woman, gone through sort of everything, instead of it feels like, oh, Jodie's the girl one, and that didn't really work, and we've gone back
Yeah,
to what works.
I agree.
I mean, I'm glad that it wasn't. I mean, at least it was shooting. It wasn't just like a fuck it, we're doing Ben Whishaw or something like lazy like that. Like,
Chris
just,
Marshall.
yeah, like something like that. As much as I'd love Ben Whishaw to, be that kind of character, it's like it didn't. Not that that should discount anyone like that, but it should also be. No, we kind of need to. You need to tip the scales to balance by sort of pushing more weight on the other side. So it would have been nice to have 3 or 4 female incarnations in a row. So then by the time you get back to a man, it is kind of like, this is different because we've not done this for a while, kind of thing.
I want a female Doctor with one male companion.
Yeah,
I want, because we've never had that dynamic before.
like you need someone like Arthur Darvill. You need like a Rory companion with a female Doctor.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, Joe Martin would be great because it'd also be someone that was older than Jodie Whittaker, so you get a bit of a different perspective there. Obviously, she's a person of color. I would have loved and would still always love Tania Miller to be the Doctor.
Yes.
Like, she's just fabulously sassy. She's a bit like if what's her name from Doctor Strange? What's her name? She's always Tilda Swinton. She's like Tilda Swinton, but like infinitely sassier and fucking
Yeah,
amazing.
I can see that.
Even like Tilda Swinton. Yeah, sure. I mean, she's a bit more down the let's cast Johnny Depp as the Doctor in this weird Doctor Who movie we're going to do with David Yates from 12 years ago thing. But I mean, I'd still take her. Emma Thompson, like since the 90s, she should have been within a shout to possibly be the Doctor because she is Mother. Like,
You know what? Fuck it. Go all Curse of Fatal Death. Joanna Lumley.
oh, Joanna Lumley with Colin Firth as the companion.
And Joanna Lumley, they spend that entire Children in Need special or Red Nose Day special fishing out those old teats.
Yeah, I think I can see the on switch. Joanna Lumley and Hugh Grant.
Oh,
Hugh Grant as the companion, and he just plays Hugh Grant, so he's just a man that doesn't want to be there.
What about like Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
Yeah, I mean, I like Phoebe Waller-Bridge more as a writer than I do as an actor. Like, because I'm one of those few people that hasn't, sat down and watched all of Fleabag because I haven't really gelled with her as a performer.
Oh, I would highly recommend.
I love her work. Lydia West, I mean, someone from years and years in It's a Sin and a sort of newish Russell collaborator that would have been was heavily rumored to at one point be involved to be the Doctor. She'd be great. She's doing what else? She did an audio play of The Wizard of Oz. Mad.
Who else would I like as a female Doctor, or as the Doctor played by a female actor?
If she wasn't go on then.
Anna Maxwell Martin.
Anna Maxwell Martin. I can see the name, not the face.
She has been in Line of Duty. If you watched that show,
yes. Oh my god,
with David Mitchell recently, for Ludwig. She was in that. Yeah.
Yes, she's great.
She's also Suki in The Long Game.
She is Suki. Oh
In
my
fact,
god!
you know when that thing was happening a couple of weeks ago, where they were like, "The new Doctor is a woman, and she's at the BAFTAs tonight," or something like that, and it's someone we've seen before. Anna Maxwell Martin was on that list of people.
Oh yeah, I'm here for it.
Also, another personal favourite of mine, just because she is one of my favourite actors ever, Keeley Hawes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame she's been in it before, but it's been long enough, and she's
Have you ever seen Line
she's
of
mother.
Duty? Did you watch it?
Yes, I love Line of Duty. Yes, Keely
Lindsay,
Hawes. Keely Hawes, she is
Lindsay in Line
mother.
of Duty is one of my favourite characters ever. Like, she's such a good, complex character.
Yeah, I think as well. It also always baffles me that she's married to Matthew McFadden.
Oh yeah, she is, isn't she?
It's just two people that I think wouldn't put them together. But Keely Hawes is she is amazing.
Also, quick thought, just since I'm on Line of Duty, Vicky McClure. She'd be good as the Doctor, I think.
Yes, I would also like from a male perspective, purely because I loved him in Misfits, and I think like he would have been a great if they were going along the lines of, you know, youngish man, quite attractive with a big following that was in a previously really good sci-fi TV show, Robert Sheehan.
Ooh. Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
And we've not had an Irish Doctor, so
We've not, have we?
fucking
Fuck
hell,
it,
he's
bring Ashley
37.
B back.
Oh yes, Ali Me, great. Yeah, Robert Sheehan's always been one on the list for me that I've been like, especially because he's sort of like in stuff since he just gets fucking out there sometimes. Yeah. But who would you cast as the female Doctor the world? But anyway, that's not what we're talking about, are we?
What were your overall thoughts on this episode? What would you rate it?
I would rate it, I think, a solid like 8, maybe like a high 7. Like I don't like doing all the point stuff because then you're rating it out of it like 100 and you might as well just give it. I would give it a 72.4%, and then the numbers go on forever and we're here for an infinite amount, well, for a finite amount of time anyway. So let's not waste any more of it. I'd say it's a high 7, maybe an 8 because first viewing I really enjoyed it. I just gelled with watching it live on broadcast. Performance stuff, I can't, like you said, like I can see Will's point on it. I can see other stuff on it because essentially it has to happen, otherwise the episode doesn't exist. Which is, I know it's a cheaty way to say like, oh, it's because of the script, it has to happen that way. But sometimes stuff is just like that. If you think about it too much, then you suspend your disbelief of why this episode even happened. But it's again, it's one of those things. It's if it plays into the finale and if it's dealt with, then fair enough. I will say that yeah, it was done well. But if it's then just a loose thread of like, oh, the Doctor's never going to speak of this or act like this again, then it's a bit of a sore thumb. It's
Yeah.
like sticking out, and you can kind of say, oh, maybe, you know, I love the episode, but this is a story thing that then just goes nowhere. You can kind of be like, yeah, it does drag it down, which it might do. We'll have to wait and see how the last two episodes kind of deal with it, which will be interesting. And I like that this wasn't it wasn't a stealth 3-parter, and it kind of was the prelude of a, oh, here's the Rani, here's the bi-generation, there's Susan, even though that was much earlier on in the episode than we could really count for leading into next week. But like that whole stuff with the credits is like, oh, we're going towards something big now. And it was nice. It was nice for Doctor Who to feel big, important, and be on at a time where a lot of people would be watching telly, like just after the FA Cup final and just before Eurovision. So there would naturally be some hangers on from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
So all in all, really good. Juno Dawson, amazing. Bring her back next season. And I think 6 for 6 on episodes that I've really, really enjoyed. I'd say, yeah, Robot Revolution is the weakest, but even then I've had a good time and have enjoyed watching all of these.
Yeah, I pretty much agree on everything, I think I'd give it the same sort of score. It's, in terms of the season ranking for me, it's like, it's very much in the middle. Robot Revolution's the weakest, then I would say The Story and the Engine, then Interstellar Song Contest, Lux, Lucky Day, The Well.
Oh, yeah. Lucky Day being quite high for you. That's, I'd say...
I loved Lucky Day. I thought it was amazing.
I liked it. It was kind of like it was a shame to not have Belinda and the Doctor in it, and it was like let's sort of maybe deal with Ruby and what she's doing, and if she's coming back, we kind of got to sort of maybe we'll try and redeem some of the features that we kind of shamelessly took from her in Empire of Death. I'd say Rebel Revolution last, but not that I didn't like it. Rebel Revolution, I'll include Joy to the World because it was kind of middly, so just above that. I'd say Lucky Day. I'd say this Story in the Engine, Lux, and The Well.
This has been a great series.
It has.
I
And
was
as
just
well,
sat
last season was really good. It was a great filling, and the two slices of bread either side of it were just mouldy.
Yeah. I'm just sat here thinking, how the fuck is it almost over already?
And when you think of RTD2, like as a whole, it's not been. I know it's the complaining of the going back to the tried and tested stuff and like reuniting the band back together, especially when so many controversies seem to happen on that era and things like that. But all in all, it's been pretty good in terms of what we come here for, which is Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistently good, to be fair. Like I said, there's only really 2 episodes out of the... How many have we had now? So we've had... 12, 13, plus 6. So we've had like 19 episodes of RTD2 so far, and I would say only 2 of them were objectively bad.
Which would be...
Space Babies and Empire of Death.
Yep. Yeah, so like Star Beast, fine. Wild Blue Yonder, really good. The Giggle, fine. Church on Ruby Road, pretty good. Space Baby, shit. The rest of season 1, pretty good to amazing, I think, in places. Empire of Death is a fart in a bin bag. Joy to the World, I really enjoyed it more than Church on Ruby Road. And then so far, I've not had a bad word to say. If anything, it's just my main thing would be more of it.
Yeah, it's just not long enough.
But there we go. That's a problem that hopefully we'll stop encountering as long as we get a 3rd season of this, which should be. I'm assuming it'll be all right. Right? It's going to be good, right, Andy? It's not going to be taken away from us anytime soon.
I hope it isn't.
Yeah.
If it is, we ride at dawn.
We ride at dawn. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the series. I'm looking forward to sort of how this is going to come together with the finale, and whether it's going to leave us on an open-ended thing, or it's just going to be like there's more shooting outward to come, or it's Joe Martin. That's my main 2 things I want. I want one of those to happen. I don't want it to be an open-ended regeneration or Chris Marshall, because I will throw myself out the window.
I think Chris Marshall's busy with other stuff anyway at the minute.
Thank God for that.
Are you not a fan of Chris Marshall, or do you just not want him to be the Doctor?
I don't want a boring choice.
Oh, fair.
Like a standard choice. But I like Chris Marshall. He was great in My Family. That was.
I liked him in Death in Paradise.
Yeah, it's meant to be. It's another show that I've not fully delved into, but it's got a rotating lead, so it's kind of.
It's very good. Me and Phil really like Death in Paradise.
Have you watched Beyond Paradise that he's back in or something?
No, that's what I was going to say. I think he's busy making that.
But
we do need to watch that as well.
It's weird because Russell's obviously a lot of the time talked about like season 3 and 4, and like he's had ideas and things like that. So I wonder if it goes.
He said he's been writing it.
Yeah, and because he talks about before, like, oh, maybe I'll run out of ideas by like season 4 and 5, sort of thing. So hopefully it would be a thing of if they either go Disney Plus are in, or they go sod it, we're going to carry on making it. It would just be a pick up from where he left off kind of thing, in terms of whatever ideas he's got down, or whether he's got any script treatments down.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in a couple of weeks we'll find out one way or the other. And I hope there's more Doctor Who because it means we get to have you back on, Andy, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And this was genuinely most.
You cut off at the worst time. Your audio just completely cut out.
It's strange for
Hello?
us. Hello, can you hear me, love?
You said the word genuinely, and then it cut off.
Well, I've also fucking forgotten exactly what I said, which is great. But yeah, I said we're actually quite on topic this week. Like we didn't get that distracted.
No, I think we were pretty good. It doesn't help that my energy's a bit low because I've recently had to increase my medication dosage, so that's messing with my brain at the minute. And I'm like tired all the time.
You have to promise me that next time you come on, more energetic, teat-filled discussion.
I mean, there will be teat-filled discussion, and also probably some like declarations of love between the two of us as Connor is not kicked off of his own podcast, but it's made very clear that George and I are meant to be together, and Connor is very much the side piece.
He's the one that sits in the chair and watches. But
yeah. Oh my god, yeah, we cook Connor.
Oh my goodness. At what point do we start our weird, fucking neurodivergently, like adjacent, thought-provoking podcast of distraction?
I mean, if you want to do it, I'm down. It'd be very funny.
We'd have no set thing that we talked about, but we talk about everything. And we still need to get on your podcast because that's the name.
You do. We will be recording probably at some point within the next month. I will let you update. I will keep you updated when it will be. It will almost definitely be a weekend because it needs to work for Sarah. So it'll probably end up being a Saturday at some point.
As long as it doesn't, because like I'm obviously going into the point where like it's coming to the end of May, going into June. Like there's not long left until my next kid is here, which is it's a whole thing. I need to record my paternity leave episodes. I'm calling them with Mike about Fantastic Four because I'll miss that. So we're kind of trying to pre-record them.
When is baby number 2 due?
Well, initially end of July, but it could be any point in, I'd say, from the start of July onwards. But I've also got a lot on in July. I've got like a couple of family things. I've got I'm seeing Wimbledon. Like there's a lot of shit on.
Yes, very nice. I'd love to go to a Wimbledon game.
I have managed to get tickets for the final day, so we'll see how that goes.
Do you obviously if you don't actually know or you don't want to say, that's absolutely fine. Do you know what you're having yet?
No, we didn't find out the first time, and apparently we're doing that this time, and we're both totally fine with it. So
fair enough. What are you hoping for, or do you not really mind?
Well, I've got in the mindset of it would be another boy, because then purely if it is, like, I'm happy, and if it isn't, it's like, oh, it's a pleasant surprise. I've got one of each. I don't have to do anymore. I can stop.
You've got what? You've got two. Like you can have a male and female Doctor.
There you go. I'm
then,
slowly
for Halloween,
making my own subscribers.
Yeah, exactly. So Halloween, one can dress as Jodie and one can dress as Matt or something.
Yeah, and then I can also dress as Jodie.
No, I need to see that.
That's the aim. That's for Halloween.
In the
next couple of years.
Have you got your son watching any Doctor Who yet?
Before, when I've sort of done some rewatches, like he's sort of been in the room. There was a couple of Capaldi ones that he sort of sat there for, but it was at a point where he was, I say, much younger. Like he's going to be 3 soon, and that's really depressing for my mortal clock. But in terms of it's only more recently that more live action stuff he's watching and sort of like staying like with attention to it, because we took him to see Paddington 3 in the cinema, and that was a bit of a hard one for him purely because there was one CGI element being Paddington and the rest was, normal people. Whereas he saw Sonic 3 and was quite into that, well, a bit more into that because he was a bit older and there was many colourful characters.
I mean, Phil's in his 30s and he's eagerly awaiting to watch Sonic 3. Phil loves Sonic.
It's really good. They're really good films.
Yeah, the first one was really good. I haven't seen the second one yet, but the first one was great.
Yeah, they're
Well,
really.
surprisingly so.
I'd recommend it. The Knuckles TV show that's currently on Prime. Whack that out in a couple of days. It's not going to really make a massive difference, but it's okay. It's quite good.
We
But yeah,
watched.
so
Oh, I'll tell you what. Me and Phil did watch recently a very, very short series. We watched Ellie and Natasha, which is a sitcom or sketch show that was released a few years ago, and it's got I can't remember her name, Natasha something. She's in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, Natasha Demetriou.
Yes.
Demetriou.
Yeah. Yes. It's her and her comedy partner, and it was very funny. It's like 6 15-minute episodes, so it was very easy to blitz through, and it was very much our sort of absurdist humour. We enjoyed it a lot.
That's a good recommendation. I'll try and seek that out. But they've just released a clip 16 minutes ago of the Rani and Mrs. Flood and what are they up to.
Okay. I will say, I noticed this earlier as well, because Phil was watching, the official Doctor Who channel did like a video, like a 20-minute video about like the best of the Rani about 3 months ago, and I was kind of like they weren't keeping it subtle, were they? Yeah.
Well, like the fact that they shared the Unholy Trilogy on Instagram like 10 minutes after the episode finished.
Yeah.
That's another thing. But that's a problem for next time. And Andy, what can the people and where can the people find you?
You can find me at my house.
Let's all go there now.
Yes, George, the bed is made ready for you. Come over, darling. Fish out your teats. No, you can find me on We Pay For Your Floor, which is a podcast that my partner Phil and I do with our friend Sarah. It's absurd. It's funny. Season 4, I think, has just started. We're doing one episode every 2 weeks now, just to make it a bit easier on editing and recording. So it's bi-weekly every Tuesday, because nothing good happens on a Tuesday. You can go and listen to our absolute nonsense, which, in all fairness, I think is quite funny. I do think we are genuinely quite funny.
Yeah, there is some. I mean, you've got some great memes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My personal favourite, I think, will always be Sarah's sausage throwing a lasso of butchers to save a dog. That was wonderful. What else? Oh, you can also find me on Twitch over at Kemp Plays. I am still streaming. I haven't done as many the last couple of weeks just because I've been busy with other things. But I'm streaming like consistently over there again, which has been really fun. And hopefully I will be starting to upload gameplay onto YouTube from my streams. So yeah, come check me out. I play all sorts. I'm currently in the middle of a Baldur's Gate playthrough over there. And also, I have been playing Overwatch, and we'll probably be looking to play Zelda soon in the run-up to the Switch 2.
There you go. Lots to look forward to. So please go and check him out. And obviously, he'll be back on here at some point. Me and Connor will get on We Pay For Your Floor as long as I stop having kids. And all will be right with the world. I mean, we'll continue to talk about
you'll stop having kids, and then Connor will have one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Maybe. Imagine that. We then breed the next generation of Nerd Bible podcast hosts.
I mean, unfortunately, I can't breed and make a guest for you.
No, but you'll exist forever, so they'll still be talking to you.
Oh, that's okay. Fair. That's fine.
I'll be
I'll be the fun uncle.
Yeah, like the weird camp Obi-Wan Kenobi to these Padawan. But Andy,
I will be the Dugadoo for your for your children.
I don't know whether that's something I should be worried about, but I'll accept it graciously all the same. Thank you as always for doing this, Andy. It's always a real pleasure to speak to you, even when it doesn't make sense.
Which it rarely does.
It rarely does, but we come out with good stuff, and it's great.
We do.
And
we
hopefully
have great fun
more
here.
Who, if not a retrospective, for you to be back on very soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me once again. I'm sure I'll be back sometime in the next couple of months, I imagine. And we will get
at some point.
I will let you know when we're recording We Pay For Your Floor next. It should be pretty soon.
Yeah, please let us know. As long as I can be there without it being a a problem with my fucking personal life, then we'll be fine. We'll be there.
Yeah. Just, be prepared for absurdity and very not safe for work jokes.
There we go. That's what it's all
Because
about.
we're not a safe for work podcast over on We Pay for Your Floor. We're very much just three nutters just kind of letting loose. The way I described it to someone recently is We Pay for Your Floor is essentially mine and Sarah's chance to just completely take the mask off, like the neurodivergent mask. Just take it off and just go nuts for a bit.
I mean, you're selling it more and more. That's what That's why people should go and listen to it, just purely for the chaos.
It is chaotic, but it's fun chaos.
You don't know chaos until I've been on it, though, because me and you together, we cause ripples in time and space.
I say you should prepare for Sarah and Phil. I feel like they should prepare for us.
Yeah, well, because they'll be trying to talk about something, and we'll just be having a separate conversation about Helen Mirren's breasts again.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we're such good friends.
Exactly, and much like the audience, who probably have got no idea what we're talking about, we'll see you next time, and definitely Andy. At least if Shooty regenerates, I'll immediately message you and be like, "It's time for a retrospective."
Yay!
But
So
until
we'll find
then,
out in like 2 weeks.
yeah. Until then, dearest viewer, so long for another 7 days.
Bye. Dig-a-doo.
But yeah, and we're back. Well, that was a fun episode, wasn't it, Connor? We didn't at all talk about Toast of London.
No, I'd even eat toast not live on the air. It's too late for toast.
Especially not in the capital. It's probably so expensive. But what did you guys think of the Interstellar Song Contest? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just like toast. I would Ray Purchase as the master. Anyway, but what did you guys think of it? Are you excited for the finale, where we'll be joined by the wonderful Dominic G. Martin? And we'll also be seeing the finale in cinemas. So we'll actually post a TikTok for the first. Oh, me, because I don't know you and you don't know me. Oh, it's such a fucking good song. I love Matt Berry. There, I said it.
Oh, we do. We love
Sorry,
Nandor, just like
Matt Berry is. Imagine Matt Berry as the Rani.
Jesus,
What?
Jesus,
I thought I was a fucking woman. I came here to kill Time Lords and fuck forever.
Oh, Omega!
Unhand me, Conrad, you prick. Yes, I can hear you, Conrad Fandango.
Conrad Fandango. Can you hear me, Conrad Fandango? Oh, no.
What?
Oh.
Bat? I'm Jackie Day Turner, regular human bartender. Connor, where can the good people find us? Not Matt Berry, just us. Where can they find us for the next episode?
If Matt also wants to find us, you can send us emails and ideas and Matt Berry impressions at nerdvivalcontact@gmail.com. Again, share this video on all across the social medias: Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok. For the very few of you on X, maybe do that. Twitch.tv. Insert future links here, and if you've got a TARDIS, maybe share our messages across time and space. If anyone's got a TARDIS, just asking for a friend. Like, subscribe, comment, share us your favorite Eurovision song. Just celebrate the wonderful toast of Eurovision we've had this week. Because again, regardless of your thoughts of actual Eurovision, me being a bit on it, this event of Doctor Who was magnificent, just like this YouTube video playing in the background. It was a lot of fun, guys. Tune in already. If you would have done the episode and then watched our reaction to it. But in case you haven't, go and watched it. It's worth a watch. It's great. Doctor Who is great. And hopefully it's not cancelled. But yeah, I'll shut up now. Oh my good lord. The Pantheon of Robots.
me. Don't know you, don't know me.